great American independent football. Today's game is brought to you by Rolling Rock Beer. From the mountain springs to you, same as it ever was. By Buick and your Buick dealer. The great American road belongs to Buick. By Gillette, the makers of Gillette Atra Plus shaving system and Gillette Foamy Shave Cream. Together, the best a man can get. And by Isuzu, the first car builders of Japan.
Good afternoon. For the first time in 3 days, it's not raining in the Piscataway, New Jersey area. We're live at Rutgers Stadium. It is homecoming at Rutgers University, and a battle of two great American independents about to take place between Syracuse and Rutgers. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Martin. Along with me, Bob Cacciola. Bob, I asked you this question back in August. I said, tell me who you feel the best team in the East is going to be this year. And I think we were both unanimous that it looked like it was going to be Syracuse.
It sure was. Syracuse coming off a great winning season, bowl games, and a lot of success, national attention, national ranking. A lot of veterans returning in the offensive line, good running backs, receivers, defense. Everybody was excited about that team. But in the last few weeks, they've run afoul. They've got some problems, and they really have to put it together today.
Looking at what has happened to them schedule-wise, they opened the season on a very successful note. They defeated Temple by a score of 43-3. Then they beat a very tough Army team. They survived that game with Army, winning 10-7. And then the bottom fell out in the next three very good opponents.
Tough opponents. Pittsburgh, of course, beat them in a very big game at Pittsburgh, and Florida State came up to the Dome, broke their winning streak in the Dome, decisively beating them 41-10, and last week against Penn State, they got drubbed again, 34-12.
You look at what made Syracuse successful in the years when Don McPherson was at quarterback and all of the other things that were in place at Syracuse. They had a very well-balanced offense. Right now, Bob, they don't seem to have that.
They ran the option. They ran the freeze option where the quarterback would dive the fullback inside, either give to him, come down, keep the ball, or pitch it on the corner. Three ways that they could attack the line of scrimmage. They haven't been able to do that this year because their quarterback has not done that. And what it's come out to be is not an option at all, but really a tailback carrying the ball most of the time on the outside, and defenses are starting to think that way.
I think the numbers are going to illustrate that as far as the imbalance in the Syracuse offense thus far this season. Rushing, you see 510 yards, passing over 1,000 yards, the total offensive output at 1,600 yards. But here again is the question of who's doing the damage.
Michael Owens, the tailback, carrying the ball 75% of the time. That's not a balanced attack, and people know that. Owens is a great back, but he's really trying to do it all himself on the ground.
And a great wide receiver in Rob Moore has caught 45% of everything that Bill Shaw has thrown up. So if you're Rutgers defensively this afternoon, you've got to feel good. The game plan is, all right, if we can contain Michael Owens and we contain Rob Moore, then we've got a pretty good sound defensive plan today.
Exactly. They're going to try and cut off the corner, the perimeter. They're going to try and take the big play away from Rob Moore, who is an outstanding athlete. If they can do those two things today, Rutgers fields are going to be very much in the ballgame.
Now, Rutgers has done everything in twos. They started out the season with 2 ties, then there were 2 wins, and then there were 2 losses. It's been kind of a roller coaster ride when you look at what Rutgers did. They started out with Cincinnati and Ball State, 2 games that I think they really treated as launching pads into the season, but it didn't work out that way.
Didn't, because they thought they could win those 2 games. As they started off, they felt those were 2 in the win column right from the start. But unfortunately, with all the fifth-year seniors they had, and they had as many as anybody in the East, they thought they had it going for them. They came back, won a very thrilling game against Boston College in the Meadowlands, went out to the Midwest and beat Northwestern, but the last 2 weeks,
they had a tough time with Penn State in the Meadowlands, losing 17-0, and then gave up a lot of yards on the ground at Kentucky. They came from behind late, but couldn't make it all up. 33-26, they lost to the Kentucky Wildcats. Taking a look at Rutgers' offense, you find a distinct imbalance there, too, and a lot of that's intentional because of a great quarterback, Scott Ernie.
Because of Ernie, but also because they don't have the tight end to do the blocking for him in the running game. So they've had to resort on Ernie doing great things with the pass, hitting his wide receivers and also hitting his backs out of the backfield. And you see that when you look at the stats on this team offensively.
Rushing yardage, 744 yards. That's just 34% of their total offense. The other 66% comes in the air. And the 2 guys that they depend on the ground, 2 good running backs that'll have to have a good day today, James Cann and Mike Body.
But when you look at their stats, 249 yards for Cann, 226 for Body, that's not impressive totally when you think of how many games they've played and you look at what part the running offense plays in their minds as far as attacking people.
And, of course, Syracuse has one of the best pass defenses, 6th in the nation, and that's one thing that Rutgers is going to have to solve this afternoon. Kickoff coming up, Rutgers and Syracuse. We'll have it for you right after this message.
When whippoorwills call Pabst Blue, crisp, clean, imported beer from Canada.
Nothing's too good for my baby. Nothing. So my baby gets very special treatment.
There's a gasoline so special, it even exceeds BMW's detergency standard.
What up? Ultra.
Sunoco Ultra 94. Clean power from the highest octane under the sun. Nothing else can match it.
Nothing.
What's for lunch?
Human.
What's for lunch?
Human.
What's for lunch?
Simmons. I only want the best for my family. Simmons cold cuts are extremely lean. No artificial coloring, lower in salt. There's absolutely no MSG. And the kids just love them.
What's for lunch?
It's a feeling of power, of substance and style. You know that you're on your way. The great American road belongs to Buick. Oh, the moment has come to go your way. The road, your Buick and you. Oh, the great American road belongs to Buick.
Welcome back. We're at Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. Steve Martin here along with Bob Casciola. As you see the geese flying in whatever direction is warm, because it isn't warm here this afternoon. The sun is deceiving. It was in the mid-60s yesterday. The temperature dropped dramatically overnight, and now we're down in and around the 49-degree mark and a tough wind out of the south at 20 miles per hour. As you see the weather conditions, our sky conditions partly cloudy, but that wind will be a factor. And the coin toss being engaged upon at midfield is going to be rather interesting to see who does what. Syracuse is going to defer and take the option here in the second half. And as you see, there is Rob Burnett and Terry Wooden has made the decision as far as the end of the field that they're going to defend.
Made it very clear that they want the win. They want to get the win, perhaps pin Rutgers down deep in their territory. As you look at the wind blowing,
that's coming right at you from the end zone as well. And as you see the overhead shot at midfield, it will be blowing from right to left across the screen, and it is dead across the field as we look. So that's going to be a factor in the first, and obviously Syracuse has made that decision to take the wind in the first quarter here at Rutgers. A big homecoming crowd. It'll estimate at around 32,000, and they all came in late. They were out in the parking lot in their cars warming up, and now they're back down on the field and ready to go for football here today. A pivotal game for either one of these teams. Syracuse, as we said, at 2-3 as you look at Dick McPherson in the middle of that huddle. And also we should mention field conditions. Bob, it's rained here for 3 days. What does that do to this carpet out here?
the carpet is as we look at Dick Anderson getting his receiving team together, this grass field is in perfect condition. They did not have a tarpaulin on it, even though with all the rain we've had. They did not cover the field, but the field is dry. It's rather high. The grass has been they've permitted the grass to grow, but it's a good track. It's very solid, and I'm sure both teams will find it to be equal as far as they're concerned and what they try to do, running the football as well as throwing the ball.
This is Syracuse's first game on natural turf. They play, of course, on their own AstroTurf in the Carrier Dome, and the other teams that they have had to play on the road have the artificial surfaces as well. When you look at the offenses of these two teams, Syracuse trying to execute the option and be multiple, and Rutgers with their passing attack, does a loose or a natural turf favor either one?
Not really. I think it's the same for both. You got to remember they both practice on a natural turf when they're going to play on it, or they practice on an artificial surface if they're going to play on an artificial surface. And those days pretty much are out of the picture. There's really no distinct advantage. Both of them have the facilities in their training sites that they can handle both fields, and they practice on both. So I don't think it's a factor.
John Biscup, as you saw from Islip, New York, is the kicker for Syracuse. They will kick with the wind at their back and deep to receive. Going to be Ron Allen and Gary Melton for Rutgers. Allen will be at the bottom of your screen, and we're just about set to go for football action here from Piscataway, New Jersey. Biscup puts a foot into it, and we're underway. Angling underneath at the goal line, that's Ron Allen. At the 5, out to the 10, out to the 15 to the 20, and he's brought down just shy of the 20-yard line. It's going to be a 20-yard return, and that's where we're going to come back. And Scott Ernie brings him out onto the football field. What a career he has had here at Rutgers. hitting 52% of his passes in his career, which is a tremendous achievement, and 6,000 yards in passing. He's thrown more interceptions than he has touchdowns, but these are career records that you're looking at across the board for Scott Ernie. 1st and 10, and he's working from his own 20. Body and Can are back in the eye. Handoff goes to Can. James Can comes up over the 20 to about the 22-yard line. Brought down by Fred DeRicci, the nose guard. And let's take a look at the offense for the Scarlet Knights.
Of course, Scott Ernie's the chief operator, body the experienced fullback. Can, an excellent receiver out of the backfield. Syracuse has to be wary of him. And up front, that's experience. All fifth-year seniors starting in that offensive line.
2nd down coming up, and we got a flag on the play right off the bat. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Herta may be moving ahead of the snap, and this is going to go against Rutgers apparently as they talk with Dan Busey, one of the 4 captains for the Syracuse football team. Joe Shirk is the referee. No, it's going to be against Syracuse.
Watch on his screen. See Herta getting down, and Syracuse interprets that as his movement. Actually, he's getting down in his stance, and number 91 Rooks jumps offside, and they called it against Syracuse.
That's the young sophomore. Came into his own. Dick Pearson not happy with that change of affairs. It changes a 2nd and 8 to a 2nd and 3. And that means that a free down for Ernie. He's going to throw, and it's complete to Melton at the 44. And he gets out to the 47-yard line.
Good job that time. 2nd down and 3. They decided to throw the ball. It would be an obvious running down for most. They came out with 3 wide receivers. You see him to this side. Melton, number 15, sits right in the center and comes into the seam behind the linebackers. You can see a lot of that. Here we go again. No huddle.
No huddle whatsoever for Rutgers. They'll come out 1st and 10, 1 yard shy of midfield. Lone setback and 4 wideouts in the formation. Ernie with time. Looking downfield for McQueen. It's intercepted by Thompson at the 21-yard line. Rob Thompson, who picked off a pair of passes against Penn State a week ago, comes up with the interception.
You can't do it any better, and that's haunted Scott Ernie all year. He comes in with 10 interceptions this season, 25 Thompson, 5 interceptions from a defensive standpoint. It's drop-back action. He's looking up the right side of the screen for McQueen, number 5, and watch Thompson come over from the free safety position, times it perfectly. The ball hangs. Another interception for Thompson, his 6th of the season, and Syracuse with a big turnover early in this game.
Thompson came into the game ranked 3rd in the NCAA in interceptions. This is Bill Shaw out at quarterback for Syracuse. 1st and 10 from his own 21, and he's back to throw. Over the middle, it is complete for his tight end, Andrew Dees, brought down at the 29-yard line. And the first man to bring him down for Rutgers looks to be Bob Spidell, the inside linebacker.
Look at the number 25, Rob Thompson, the junior out of Southington, Connecticut. Now has 6 interceptions, 3rd nationally. Big play. We saw him do it in the opening game against Temple, and Scott Ernie is talking upstairs to Dick Pearl, the offensive coordinator.
Coming up on 2nd down and 2 for Syracuse. They're at their own 29-yard line. The gain of 8 on the play. That's Carpenter in motion. Handoff goes to the fullback, Dwayne Kinnan, and he's got the first down over the 35 and brought down at about the 36-yard line. Again, Spidell in on the tackle and helping out Scott Miller, the defensive tackle out of Elmwood Park, New Jersey. But there's Kinnan.
We talked earlier about the Syracuse offense and what they like to do as we look at their 43, Dwayne Kinnan. That's their offensive lineup. Kinnan, the fullback, good out of the backfield, catching the ball, a former wide receiver. Of course, Owens, an outstanding tailback and experience in that offensive line. Perhaps regarded in the early season as one of the best offensive lines.
1st and 10, Syracuse. They're on 36. Here's Kinnan again. Kinnan straight ahead up over the 40-yard line. Nice gain out to the 41-yard line. Brought down by Pat Udovich.
Interesting. 2 carries first series for Kinnan. He comes into this ball game with only 36 attempts for 110 yards and a 3.1 average. There it is. So maybe they're going to try and feature him inside, run at Syracuse, keep them honest inside so they can eventually come on the corner with Michael Owens.
George DeLeon, the offensive coordinator for Syracuse, told me, he said one of the things that has held the Orangemen back, lack of success on first down. They've been in too many 2nd and long. They're 2nd and 6, and they fumble the football. Shaw covers up, but it'll be for a yard or 2 loss. There to make sure he goes nowhere is Scott Miller. So a 2-yard loss brings up 3rd and long.
just never stood in there and hung in with his center. The center moved away, and Shaw never moved with him. Consequently, the ball hit the ground. Fortunate to come away with it himself.
So a big third down conversion coming up for Dick McPherson's club. In his 9th year at Syracuse, 2 games shy of his 100th career coaching win. Includes his years at Massachusetts. That's Dees in motion from the slot. Shaw back to throw over the middle. It is complete to his fullback Kinnan, and it's going to be close to a first down. Udovich and Sellers on the tackle.
Beautiful execution that time. Brought the tight end in motion across the middle of the formation. And when you see this, he draws the linebacker's attention. He picks up on Udovich and Spidell. He comes across, and they take 43 Kinnan and bring him underneath that. So the linebackers had dropped off with the tight end. Here comes the fullback wide open in the middle. Good play, first down Syracuse.
Needed 7, got 8. First and 10, 3 yards shy of midfield for Syracuse. Shaw, deep hand off to Kinnan. Kinnan finds running room on the left side. That is going to be Owens going to the left side. His first carry of the day over the 50-yard line into Rutgers territory at the 44. He's brought down on the play. Looked to be Elnardo Webster out of Jersey City. Oh, look at Dick Anderson.
Elnardo Webster is a young player. He's inexperienced coming in this year. Has gained a lot of experience early in the season. They feel he's really come along. He's a tough kid, good size at 6'3", 225, and he's got to be careful looking for Mike Owens on a cutback all day today.
Gain of 5, second and 5 for Syracuse. No score. Play action for Shaw. Big rush is on. He'll have to scramble. Has some running room. Out at the 45 down to the 43. Pat Udovich, the man who brought him down at the 42-yard line of Rutgers.
Good outside pressure that time by Rutgers. Came on the flanks with Lester and Webster. Put pressure on the quarterback. Good adjustment by Bill Shaw to get out of trouble. Watch this. As they pocket him in here, you'll see the pressure coming from the left side. That's number 93, Webster, coming in, forcing him. Just doesn't make the tackle. Good balance on the part of Shaw to get outside and make a gain out of it.
One of the criticisms of Bill Shaw was that he was not as mobile a quarterback as they've been used to in that offense at Syracuse. But look, he needed 5, and it looks like he's going to be very close to a first down. As you look over the shoulder of Bill Shaw, anxiously watching that measurement. It could mean another first down in this drive, and it's going to be. First and 10 for the Orangemen, who picked up this football down at their own 22 on an interception by Rob Thompson. And they've moved the ball steadily upfield since. We have 10:26 left to go in the first quarter. That number is reflected in the number of sacks that have been experienced by Bill Shaw. And watch as he refers to his wrist. Look at the selection of plays that he has to go over. First down and 10 in Rutgers territory at the 42. Here's the option. Pitch to the corner to Owens, and he's right at the sideline. It could go nowhere with it. He lost yard.
Very interesting. They put the formation into the boundary, into the sideline. They ran the option back into the boundary, which is tough to do. They don't have much field to operate. Good job by Rutgers stretching it out, and he comes up with a loss.
Stretched it out to the point that the minute he pitched the ball to Owens, he was standing on the sideline. Second down and 13, a loss of 3. But you know, you talk about the sack yardage as Bill Shaw goes to the mobile playbook again. And you have to wonder about that sack yardage because this is a veteran offensive line, yet they've been sacked. He was sacked 9 times by Florida State, 7 times by Penn State. Shaw rolling right. Looks back to the left across the field. It's going to be close. He's going for Carpenter. They say complete at the 30, the 29-yard line.
That was a big play and a fine pass by Bill Shaw. That time he was looking front side at Rob Moore. Moore was covered on the corner by Rusty Mays, so he looks backside. Watch this little reverse action. He comes out. He's looking to his right, but look at the throwback action here as Carpenter comes across the middle, and he puts it right there on the money. Well covered that time by McCoy, the free safety. But a good job by Shaw. Excellent reception by Carpenter.
15 yards on the gain. It'll be first and 10 at the 30-yard line. Shaw has engineered a nice drive from deep in his own territory. Hand off to the fullback Kinnan, and he gets hit as soon as he got the ball from Bill Shaw. And the man that made the stop, Marty Mays, out of Orange, New Jersey.
Again, trying to keep him honest inside with the fullback, Wayne Kinnan, who moved from a wide receiver position to fullback in early preseason. He's got size, not the hammer in there. If you look at Dick Anderson, and this is not what he wanted. He had the football, he gave it up, and Syracuse now controlling on the ground for him. Rutgers has not been a good first quarter team anyway, scoring and destroying. Looking at Syracuse, excellent field position.
Syracuse has been just the opposite. They put points on the board early against people like Pittsburgh, against Penn State last week. Yet have not been able to hold up. It's a screen pass swung to the corner to Kinnan, and he goes very little yardage to the 28-yard line, and a nice stop on the corner there by Ron Allen.
Ron Allen stepping in on the cornerback position. This time it's a little quick screen here. Watch this little play as he rolls out here. Watch number 43 roll behind. He just drops the ball off to him. Little swing pattern. There he is. He gets on the corner. 79 Bednar's are trying to make the hit on the cornerback, but Allen came up and made the hit. There he is.
And Allen is hurt.
Allen is down. He made a big play on that. Keep it to a very short game.
And here again, Syracuse does not get good yardage on first down, forced into a 3rd and 7. Shaw has completed 2 of these as you look at Allen. Allen, a veteran kick returner. Junior, 5'7". You'll see it here on the replay.
Watch his leg up underneath him as he twists it. That's where he got hit.
Ooh, and then he got hit again. He crossed it.
But a very nice play for Allen to come up at 5'7", 165, and tackle Kinnan, who goes 6'1", 219.
Knees aren't supposed to bend in those 2 directions as sharply at once.
He's up.
What's up is going to be okay. Matter of fact, they're going to send him across the sideline back to his own sideline for more attention. And he'll come out briefly, but leaving under his own power, which is something you always like to see. So Ron Allen heads back to the Rutgers sideline, and now here comes 3rd and 7 for Syracuse at the Rutgers 27-yard line. No score, 8:41 left to go in the first here at Piscataway. Shaw so far very efficient, 4 out of 4, 35 yards in the air. You know, his completion percentage has been outstanding this year, 57%, but he's thrown 7 interceptions, only 1 touchdown pass. 3rd and 7 coming. Shaw back. 5-step drop, looking over the middle, has a man complete for the first down at the 15-yard line, and that is Rob Moore's outstanding wide receiver.
They're so conscious of Moore, they gave him a chance to curl back to the football. They let him come back, and he knew where the first down sticks are. Watch this play. He drops back. You're going to see Moore on the top of your screen to the left side, 14, come down and curl in. There's the football, and Shaw throws it with a lot of authority right in the seam. The linebacker, 63 that time, Spidell, a little bit too far inside. Syracuse coming up with the clutch 3rd down plays to keep this drive alive.
1st and 10. Moore getting the pads fixed behind Coach Dick McPherson. In the meantime, the offense on the field and moving the ball down from their own 22 to where they sit now at the 15. This is Kinnan. Kinnan with running room all the way to the 5. Brought down on the play by Von McCoy and a saving tackle. Also, Elnardo Webster on the play as well. But Dwayne Kinnan has done the brunt of the ball carrying this drive.
And that veteran Syracuse offensive line getting into people. McCummings, the left guard, and Bernard, the left tackle, along with John Flannery, one of the top centers in the country, blocking, pushing those people out and giving Kinnan a chance to run, and to run a lot early in this football game.
9-yard gain, 2nd and 1 at the 5. Shaw, both ends are in tight. And off goes to Kinnan, picks his way off left guard, and there's not much there. He may have gotten to the 5. He may have gotten the first down. It's going to be very close. Spidell getting up from the pile. Marty Mays also getting up. Chuck Paw as well.
Watch this offensive line. White jerseys coming off nice and low. There's Flannery, 53. He gets into Mays, the middle, the nose guard, and gives Kinnan, even though the blocking was tough in there, gives Kinnan a chance to slice off and get a shot at this first down.
They're going to measure it, but it looks like he's got it.
This is exactly what Dick McPherson wanted to happen. Take that football and march up the field. Do it authoritatively on the ground and fix it up as you can.
Bolster the confidence of that young man, Bill Shaw.
Exactly. He looks very sharp in this early drive, coming up with clutch plays, scrambling a little bit, and making the key passes when he's had to.
He's 5 for 5 in this drive, including that key 3rd and 7 catch by Rob Moore, and that set them up inside the 5 with a Kinnan carry. It's 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Syracuse knocking on the door, no score. And off Kinnan to the 2, driven back by Spidell. Also Udovich on the play, and also on the corner, it's going to be Rusty Mays.
As you watch this, the linebackers for Rutgers, Udovich and Spidell, we call their names a lot. Watch number 63, Spidell, come across his pin and hits up inside. There's 63 making the hit, not permitting him to get much movement. Spidell, really a workhorse in their experience, coming off of a year where he sat out of football, getting back into it now.
Second and goal. Whoops, movement on the right side of the Syracuse line brings the flag out. Flannery snapped it, and it looked like Turnell Sims was the man who got off the mark early.
Those are the kind of mistakes you can't make down in close. No reason for it. And it's the right tackle, Sims, who moved before the snaps and pushed Syracuse back and change it now. Number 62 is the right tackle at the top of the left screen here, and there he comes off well into it. And he creates the fumble, he creates the penalty, and now Syracuse is looking down at a third down. Excuse me, a second down, with the ball sitting outside on the 7-yard line.
This play started 15 plays ago. Syracuse has worked the clock to the measure of 6 minutes. They've piled up 6 first downs on the drive. Shar has been outstanding, and they need a pass from him right now. 2 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers in the formation now for Syracuse. Second and goal from the 7. Shar changing up on the line. Loses the handle of the football, went ahead with it, and it's a recovery to Rutgers. Picking it up, Scott Miller in the middle of it all.
Unbelievable call. He was looking at the automatic to go to Moore in the end zone on the fade pattern, and he never got the pass off. What a break for Rutgers. Watch this. He's going to go right. He's going to throw to our right as we look at this screen. That's where 14 Moore's lined up. He never gets it forward. He just drops the ball. It comes right out of his hand.
And keep in mind at the same time as you look at Scott Miller that the play clock was winding down and at 1 second left. He felt he had to hurry as Scott Miller makes the fumble recovery. We've got a timeout. No score. 5:42 left in the first.
Right now, during Isuzu's Take It to the Bank sale, generous factory cash is helping people save big bucks that they can take straight to the bank.
Hi, I'd like to make a deposit. I love this bank. You never have to wait in line.
Right now, you could save big bucks on the Trooper during Isuzu's Take It to the Bank sale.
There's a special breed of people who do battle day after day. Their arena, the business world. Their territory, the road. They are the Road Warriors.
Ray?
Ray Cave!
On the road again, huh? 3 cities this week. He's Mary Hansen, sales director for Land.
Hi!
And Howard Johnson is the place the Road Warrior chooses when he gets ready for the road. Again and again. Howard Johnson, home of the Road Warriors.
Give us a couple of Rolling Rocks, please. Repeat after me. We tender this premium beer. We tender this premium beer for your enjoyment. For your enjoyment. As a tribute to your good taste. As a tribute to your good taste. It comes from the mountain springs. It comes from the mountain springs. To you. To you. 33. 33? I now pronounce you man and beer.
Rolling Rock. Same as it ever was.
Down in the end zone, Syracuse had punched the ball all the way to the 2-yard line. And here's what happens. The play clock ran out. Shar sees it quickly, he was not even hit when he let go of that football.
He was automatic. He wanted to throw the ball in the corner to Moore, and he got a little too excited. He never got the ball off. It's a big break, but that's what's plagued Syracuse all year. The quarterback, the question of that position, the mistakes that are being made.
So Rutgers starts their own 13. First and 10, and Ernie's going to throw. Little flare pass goes to Henry Henderson, complete at the 26-yard line, brought down at about the 27. Helping out on the play for Syracuse, looks like Sean Whiteman.
Good job here by, watch this, he drops back first down deep in his territory, a little fake to his tailback 27 and slips him in the middle. Meanwhile, the tight ends come across, taking the linebackers out of the play. He dumps the ball off to Henderson. Good execution, first down Rutgers.
First and 10, ball moved out to the 26 after a 13-yard gain. Deep handoff, this is Henderson again. Penetration by Burnett foiled the play as he got back to the line of scrimmage and then barely. Bavaro finishes him off, but the penetration by Burnett at the line. Number 7, he really pulled the ball.
Henry Henderson's a senior, number 27. He's at 5'7", 165 pounds. He's been a back here, and he's run the ball and done a good job for Rutgers, but this year he's been hampered by an ankle injury. And only this week did he practice enough for them to feel they wanted to get him into the flow of their offense.
Years ago, he was their starter in the offensive backfield. Melton comes across the formation on second down. Pitch to Henderson. Henderson out over the 30-yard line to about the 32. Busey's in on the stop, among others. Bavaro, who always seems to find his way around the football for Syracuse.
Bavaro, the leading tackler, number 59, 17 tackles alone against Penn State. Really a tough player, tough in the middle, both Busey and Bavaro, and Rutgers today does not want to contend with running at them. They feel that that's not the way to go. They want to spread the offense a little bit and try and eventually tie those guys up to being in the pass coverage. Because Rutgers likes to throw to their back out of the backfield, the linebacker's going to have to cover.
Gain of 4, makes it 3rd and 4. No score, Rutgers with a key third down conversion. Ernie with time, throws it out to Cam. First down and more. At midfield, still on his feet, and then brought down finally by Terry Wooden at the 45-yard line, a 22-yard gain.
Exactly the call. That's it. Getting the backs out of the backfield. James Can came into this with 19 receptions, over 13.5 yards per catch. Watch this. Drop back action. Here's 32. He slips out, comes across the middle. The linebackers lose him. He's wide open. If they don't cover him, who's going to pick up on him? Eventually, the cornerback, good move there on the cornerback number 37. Eventually, Thompson, the safety, comes over to make the hit.
1st and 10. Rutgers moving the football at the Syracuse 45. And off Henderson, straight ahead, not much there. DeRiggie's got him by the ankle as he got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Fred DeRiggie, part of that very, very good defensive line for Syracuse.
DeRiggie has really made himself into an outstanding nose tackle. At 6'2", 268, comes out of Scranton, Pennsylvania. He's leading those down linemen, Burnett, DeRiggie, and Rooks. He's the leading tackler of those three. And he moved right around the block at the end of that time and caught Henderson right at the line of scrimmage.
25 tackles coming into this game, 12 of them all by himself. 2nd and 10. Ernie fires a pass. It is complete to McQueen. A flag on the play at the 30-yard line. They're going to mark him out of bounds at the 27. Conditionally, a gain of 18, but let's see what the flag is.
It could be. Where the flag was thrown was a little bit behind the line of scrimmage. It's going to be interesting to see what it's got to go against Rutgers. Maybe a legal receiver downfield. Offensive
interference. And a loss of down coming up here for Rutgers, as you see Dick Anderson talking on the near sideline.
It's a big gain and a big play on the part of Scott Ernie.
On the offense, loss of down, 15 yards, it's 3rd down.
Tough penalty to take.
Wipes out an 18-yard gain.
Rutgers has been plagued with interference and turnovers and fumbles and penalties this year.
Dick Anderson still makes his case. Let's see it again.
Okay, here we come. It's a sprint out, a pure sprint on the right side. Ernie comes down. He's looking upfield. His receiver comes back to the football. That's McQueen to catch the ball. Now, the flag was not thrown there. It was thrown upfield more on the tight end who was into the pattern also.
Scott Blanche cut in underneath Tyrone McQueen that time, and that may be where the penalty occurred. 3rd and 25 for Rutgers. Back at their own 40. Ernie steps ahead, and he'll get sacked. He's brought down by Terry Wooden. Also, Rooks on the play, George Rooks.
Coming into this ball game, the one thing that they were concerned about offensively all year, there's Terry Wooden, the great All-American candidate from Syracuse, and he's probably one of the best, if not the best, they've ever had at that position. Rutgers offensively, lack of converting 3rd downs, but with 3rd downs and 20-plus, it's very hard to do against a team like Syracuse. And they're going to punt the football here.
Darryl Pellegrino is going to come in and punt it away, standing at his own 23-yard line. There's the kick. Fine drive. Walker's going to get to it. Fielded on the bounce at the 35. Struggles ahead. Not much yardage there. About a 2-yard return. So Syracuse comes back out on the field after a 37-yard punt and a 2-yard return. No score with 1:48 left. We now pause for a word from your local station.
It was a big day when the new equipment arrived.
It's big.
biggest one I've ever seen.
Of course, being a custom job, some assembly was required.
It'll be a few weeks, people.
But finally, it was ready. One of the world's fastest check-writing systems. Some insurance companies look for ways to get your money from you faster.
I hear she'll do $12,000 an hour.
At Aetna, we look for ways to get your money to you faster.
The Jeep Cherokee 4x4. Now, to make it more like S10 Blazer and Bronco 2, we'll have to make some slight modifications. We'll remove 2 of our 4 doors, eliminate one of our passenger seats, drain the power out of Cherokee's engine, and we'll drop our full-time 4-wheel drive. Now Cherokees are produced to the same level as Ford and Chevy. But why would you want that? You can get all this.
See your Tri-State Jeep Eagle dealer, where you can always expect the best.
Well, you were right about the game last night. Wonder what Joe's got to say about it now. Why don't you call him up and find out? To be a sport, use the phone. New York Telephone, part of the NYNEX family.
Help for hurting feet, swimming around the Isle of Manhattan, and a powerful portrait exhibit. New York News, tonight at 7:30, right here on Channel 7.
Channel 7, WABC-TV, New York.
I'll bring you calamine lotion when you sit in those seats. I wonder how much that costs.
I don't know. They jumped the fence there. That's part of the contour of this stadium.
They have 4 of those specific grassy, bushy areas here at Rutgers Stadium. As you see the crowd still coming in. First and 10, Syracuse at their own 37. Bill Shaw. Play fake, pitches to the corner to Owens. Owens with a first down and more, and a saving tackle by Tim Lester prevents him from going even further into Rutgers territory at the 46.
That time they got on the corner with the option. That's what they've been successful at this year. Watch this. The Shark comes down the line of scrimmage, going to his left, going to our left as we look at it. Little fake to the fullback, hold the linebacker, and right here he kicks it out to Owens. Good block on the corner downfield by number 14, Rob Moore, which makes it possible for him to make a big gain out of it. Moore, great football player for Syracuse. Good job blocking.
17-yard gain on the play. Shaw again on the option, pitches as he went down. Owens again out of bounds, and he's going to get about 3 yards on it. Looks like he's hurt as he went down in the process.
He got caught. That's a hard play to make when you consider that was the backside number 93, Elnardo Webster, trailing the play, makes the hit on the quarterback. Shar did very well to get this pitch off. Watch 93 come down, makes a great, comes off a block to make the hit, yet Shar gets it out to Owens, and they make a gain out of it.
Gain of about 2. It's a modest one, but it's 2nd down and 8. Out of the eye with Kinnan and Owens in back of him. Deep handoff, Owens. Owens gets isolated down to about the 41-yard line. Topitsis makes the stop for Rutgers.
Topitsis, the nose guard, coming off the block of the center planter. He makes the hit. Owens picks up about 4 yards on the play. That time they got him deep in the backfield, get the ball on him and try and run him off tackle, let him cut back. Michael Owens, senior tailback out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. He's explosive and he can make things happen, make people miss. And he's been the workhorse offensively in the running game for Syracuse this fall.
3rd down and about 5 coming up for Syracuse at the Rutgers 41. 41 seconds remaining in the first period. Syracuse will wind at their back. Shar, long count, back to throw. Wants Carpenter, deep, has him. And it's a touchdown. He fell in over Ron Allen. Rob Carpenter, 41 yards deep, scores, and Syracuse is on the board.
Nothing fancy about this play. Drop back action. He just runs Carpenter on a fly pattern up the side, and he just outruns and gets behind Allen. And Allen, at 5'7", could not handle Carpenter at 6'2", and the speed of Carpenter. Watch the play. Drop back action. Carpenter's going to come from the left side of the screen. Here's Allen. He found the football, but Carpenter had 2 or 3 steps on him, and he launches that body, that 6'2" frame, and gets across the end zone. Beautiful execution. Great pass by the quarterback, Shaw.
John Biscuit to kick.
And they're encouraging Shar on that sideline. He needed that. Everybody's supporting him. He has to come through for him today, and he's done well in his first half.
Backup quarterback Mark McDonald to hold. They're looking to spot the ball here for the point after. John Flannery, the center, getting set to snap it for Syracuse. But an excellent play by Shar, which is only his 2nd touchdown pass of the year. It stops the clock with 27 seconds left in the first. And as in the pattern in other Syracuse games this season, the Orangemen score first. And they look good in doing it. High snap, Biscuit with a kick, and he missed it. It hit the upright and spanked back out. His third miss thus far this season, and that's after a year, actually several years of not missing any for 286 straight chances. Here's the kick again as Syracuse has 6 on the board, but their attempt at 7 bounces off the pole.
It's wide open faces leading straight to the sun. Your spirit is soaring with you. The great American road belongs to you. It's the promise of freedom. You can feel it inside on a road that leads to your dream. Oh, the great American road belongs to Buick.
Nothing's too good for my baby. Nothing. So my baby gets very special treatment.
There's a gasoline so special, it even exceeds BMW's detergency standard.
Fill it up. Ultra.
Sunoco Ultra 94. Clean power from the highest octane under the sun. Nothing else can match it.
Nothing.
What's for lunch? Human. What's for lunch?
Simmons.
What's for lunch?
Simmons. I only want the best for my family. Simmons cold cuts are extremely lean. No artificial coloring, lower in salt. There's absolutely no MSG. And the kids just love them.
What's for lunch?
Let's take a look at a catch again by Rob Carpenter.
The big play has really plagued Rutgers this year. They give up those big plays, and they give them up early, and they're behind early in this game. 4 plays, 64 yards, 41-yard catch by Carpenter. Excellent pass by Billy Sharp.
Transfer from Notre Dame. Let's take a look at that extra point try again. And John Biscuit kicking off natural grass for the first time this season.
He just shanks this ball. Watch it. He just shanks it and pulls it to the left. It hits the upright and bounces back on. Tough break.
Of course, no tee, as you understand. Here comes Biscuit again to kick. Melton swooping under it at the 7. Melton, solid wall up the middle of the field, and he gets gang tackled at the 27-yard line. And in to make the first initial hit, Garland Hawkins out of Hyattsville, Maryland. Rutgers gets the football again, trailing here 6-0 with 21 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play.
Okay, guys, I'm closing up early tonight.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say good night, sweetheart.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Rolling Rock, same as it ever was.
What are you doing? Hey, Dave, where'd you get that chin? What's wrong with my chin? Where'd you get that nose? It's Dad. How do you shave under that thing?
Now there's a razor as unique as the Thomas face. The new Slim Twin razor system. Slim Twin has the slimmest cartridge to shave hard-to-reach places, and a choice of pivot or fixed head shaving.
Dave, I'd give Dad back his nose. What's wrong with my nose?
New Slim Twin reaches every place on every face. From Chic.
All Nippon Airways, Japan's favorite airline, offers luxurious service across the Pacific to 12 destinations. ANA, Japan's best to the world.
Rutgers and the fans here at homecoming. Now that's a mini wave designed to go over one area of the stands only. And nobody gets wet. 1st and 10. Rutgers coming out of the football. Steve Martin here with Bob Cacciola. We're in Piscataway, New Jersey. Final plays of the first quarter of action. Syracuse up 6-0. Scott Ernie out of the grass for Busey. Complete to Melton. Melton going across the field, now cutting up at the 42-yard line. And he's brought down there after a 15-yard gain.
Big play that time. Scott Ernie really had to scramble and get away from trouble. He threw the ball on the run. Melton, 15, the junior out of Mays Landing, New Jersey, comes on and makes the play. Watch it from the end zone here. He's scrambling. As he sprints to the right side, there's the pressure from Busey, the linebacker, who was blitzing, and they caught Melton. Big play to get a first down.
First and 10. Again, no huddle here for Rutgers. And off Can. James Can across the 45, driven back by Fred DeRiggi, right in the middle of that Syracuse defensive formation.
DeRiggi is a tough guy to handle in the middle. He came off the block as we look at the time running out here in the first period. Jimmy Can took a real shot from DeRiggi, and he's feeling it.
And he's going to get up very slowly, if at all, here, as he's on his hands and knees at the 45-yard line. The first quarter has expired, and the Syracuse Orangemen sit here with a 6-0 lead over Rutgers as James Can is getting some medical attention before heading to the sidelines. 1 quarter down, 3 to go. Syracuse 6-0. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Give us a couple of Rolling Rocks, please. Repeat after me. We tender this premium beer. We tender this premium beer for your enjoyment. For your enjoyment. As a tribute to your good taste. As a tribute to your good taste. It comes from the mountain springs. It comes from the mountain springs. To you. To you. 33. 33? I now pronounce you man and beer.
Rolling Rock. Same as it ever was.
Why can't life be more predictable? Why can't we be immune to the nasty little surprises fate sends our way? Why can't everything be like AT&T long distance? And whenever you travel, remember that AT&T is the fastest, most reliable long distance service in the world. Choose anyone but AT&T. And who knows what you'll get.
Lots of houses are built from memory.
He who brings me the kingdom's most valuable object shall marry my daughter.
Sire, I slay 2 dragons for the kingdom's most valuable object.
Next.
I swam crocodile-infested waters for this.
Next.
Sire, I didn't slay any dragons, but look, a Sony Trinitron XBR, incredible picture, amazing SRS stereo sound. Nothing's more valuable.
Bingo.
The Sony Trinitron XBR TV. Every castle should have one.
I made this trunk my bunk to prove a point. The all-new Acura Integra 4-door sedan has all the family roominess you'd expect from a Nissan Maxima or a Toyota Camry. But there's a lot more. The Acura Integra 4-door sedan drives like a sports car.
The 1990 Acura Integra 4-door sedan. Room for the family, sports car performance. From just $13,145 at your tri-state Acura dealers.
Next.
Hi, Jesse.
I love this job.
You're looking at the overflow crowd. That is the crowd that sits right in front of the Hale Athletic Center that is adjoining the Rutgers Stadium complex here. Biggest crowd here was about 31,000 last year for homecoming against Temple. This stadium holds about 30,000, so they've got an overflow, and they're looking for 32 today. Rutgers, 2nd down and 7. In their own 46, trailing Syracuse 6-0. Ernie falls and throws as he did it.
He slipped and fell. His knee hit the ground right there, and that's where we're going to mark the ball. A tough break for Rutgers coming off of a 2nd and 7. His ball is going to be pushed back as you see him. He's sprinting on the corner here. He's trying to hit number 27, Henderson, who came out of the backfield in motion with the wet field there. He sort of tripped. It might have been that. Just might have been that he got his feet tied up behind him. As you look at the sideline, and they're signaling in the plays to Scott Ernie.
The rain just stopped here at around supper time last night, and with the cold weather overnight, the field is still considerably wet if it isn't loose. Ernie became a victim of that. 3rd down and 16. Ernie to throw. Looking long for McQueen. Against double coverage, it's incomplete at the 20-yard line. But boy, did Scott Ernie air it out with a wind at his.
And he paid the price because Terry Wooden was coming from the outside linebacker position, and he got a hit on him, and he knew he was there. Rutgers does not feel they can handle Wooden. As you look at the first quarter stats, Syracuse controlling the football on the ground and really in the air a little bit, and they're well ahead, almost double of what Rutgers had, but time also.
Took a look at that balance. They're still passing more than they're running, but their running game, they've got to consider it as kind of a success. Offside, Syracuse.
Big break for Rutgers that time. They were looking at third, fourth down, punting the football, and now they've got a chance with 3rd and 11.
And the way that Scott Ernie can chew up yardage with big plays, you know why Dick McPherson's concerned on the far side.
But again, Rutgers in these 3rd and longs. They don't want to be here. This has plagued them all year. This is what they've got to get away from.
Trailing 6-0. Syracuse got that. Ernie, 7-step drop, goes to the screen. Oh, nearly intercepted by George Rooks. Rooks says, this one's for me.
He was looking to hit number 26 for Rutgers. That was Roberts coming out of the backfield. He's trying to tie him up in the middle, but Roberts couldn't get open, and Rooks, the big sophomore out of White Plains at 6'3", 272, White Plains, New York, steps up and almost has the play of a lifetime. Good job again by the Syracuse defense on 3rd down, and Rutgers again punting the football.
Walker is back deep as Ernie goes to the headset again. Pellegrini with a kick. Got a 37-yarder off this time. A wind-aided kick this time to the 14. Here's Walker. Just dancing outside. Allen and Lester are the men to stop him there at the 31-yard line. A 37-yard kickoff out front, rather, and a 16-yard return. The great Walker.
No consistency in that offense. They had their first drive go downfield, and then they threw the interception. Scott Ernie looking at it. He's completed 4 of 6, but he has that 1 interception, and he's been under pressure of late. Syracuse starting to come after him. They've got to get some rhythm into their offense. Very hard to do when you don't have that much of a running game.
In the meantime, Bill Shaw has been perfect. 6 out of 6, 88 yards and a touchdown, and only 1 real mistake. Down at the Rutgers 2-yard line. We're actually at the 7. Back to throw. Into the wind. Looking over the middle for his tight end. D's. It's incomplete. Udovich covering on the play.
Good job by Udovich. He looked up the tight end as he came across, got a little piece of him, knocked him off stride. But Shaw that time was looking exclusively, watch on the right side for his tight end D's, number 86. See D's get hit by number 91 there, just knocks him off a little bit. Couldn't make the play. Good job by the linebacker.
Once again, Syracuse does not convert on 1st down and come up 2nd and long. But Shaw has been no stranger to that, and he has been equal to the task thus far this afternoon. 2nd and 10, and off to Owens. Owens slices wide off to the right side, makes his way out over the 35, actually over the 33-yard line. It's going to be a gain of 3 on the play, brings up 3rd and 7.
Interesting how they mix these plays up. Syracuse throwing the football a lot in the first period, coming back right away with it, looking for the tight end. This time, done a little counteraction to the tailback, mixing their plays nice, keeping that Rutgers defense sort of in that gray area, not knowing exactly what's going to happen. Now they look at a 3rd down and 5.
Syracuse leading 6-0. Shaw with 1 touchdown pass to his credit already this afternoon. Back to throw once more. Looking for his back. Oh, here's to Kinnan. Kinnan crosses midfield. Kinnan still on his feet. And is brought down finally at the Rutgers 35-yard line. Gain of 23 on the play by the fullback, Dwayne Kinnan.
Great call, screen, back into the sideline. That's where you like to do it. Well executed. Rutgers never even felt it coming. They put pressure on the quarterback. Watch this. He drops back. Here's the pressure. Linebacker, 63, Spidell drops deep. And there it is. Back into the sideline, and he comes up. Now remember, he's a former wide receiver. You get him in the open field, and he knows what to do with the football.
28 of Shaw's 62 completions have gone to backs coming into this game, and that is about the 3rd pass that Dwayne Kinnan has caught today. Big 3rd down conversion for Syracuse. They're looking at 1st and 10 in Rutgers territory at the 35. Shaw, quick drop, wants Carpenter, complete for 8 yards to the 28-yard line of Rutgers. In on the stop, Darren Selleck. Completion to Carpenter, the transfer out of Notre Dame, who already has a score thus far this afternoon. He's caught 19 passes coming in at a 12-6 average.
They like to do that. They like to hit those outside patterns, spread the field on you a little bit, and they do that very well. By doing that, they force you to cover with more people, and when you cover with more people, that means that the running game has a better chance because you're maybe going against 5 instead of 6 or 7. They like that quick drop, get the ball in the flat.
Free play for Bill Shaw, 2nd and short, rather. And off goes to Kinnan. Played it safe, and he gets the 1st down to the 23-yard line. Actually, the 22 before he's driven back. Tim Lester makes a hit.
Rutgers defense now paying the price. They've been on the field a lot early in this ball game, and that big offensive experienced line of Syracuse is digging in and blowing them off the football, and Dick Anderson knows it.
They're averaging 35 minutes of play on the field these last couple of Saturdays. And thus far in the first quarter, they were on the field for 9 out of the 15 minutes.
But Rutgers lacks defensively. They don't have the kind of player who can make the big play for them. The guy who breaks down the line of scrimmage and puts pressure on the quarterback. They've got to have that against a team like Syracuse because they really are bigger than them and really probably stronger.
First down, 10. At the Rutgers 22. Kinnan has it again over the 20 and falls ahead to the 18-yard line. First man to make the stop, Marty Mays, the nose guy.
A lot of work today for Dwayne Kinnan. If you looked at this offense early in this ball game, you'd have to say that they're really utilizing their fullback more so than they have all year.
And there's competition all over the field here today. 11:50 left to go in the first half of play. Syracuse up 6-0. They're looking at second down and 6 from the Rutgers 18. Shaw finds Owens. Owens at the 15, still on its feet. He surged ahead, and that surge may have gotten him the first down. Tackle on the play made by Mays from the nose guard spot.
And that's where the job is being done up front now. The offensive line of Syracuse controlling the football for him, doing the job up front, and wearing down Rutgers.
This is exactly as Dick McPherson imagined it. His team loosening Rutgers up with a pass, with quick passes outside to people like Carpenter, to people like Kinnan, and that's how much Syracuse needs for another first down. It's another excellent situation for them, 3rd and inches.
Absolutely, in their running situation, in their 4-down zone here, they're in great shape, and there it is, the play selection for Syracuse today already. Pass 9 to 126, but running the football 17 times. Early on here, and mainly with the fullback, Dwayne Kinnan.
Look at Bill Shaw. Stood in there. He's yet to miss a ball so far this afternoon. Well, actually, he did miss one in this last series going to his tight end D's, but other than that, it's been 7 out of 8 so far in the ball game for him. He's looking at 3rd and inches. Full house backfield. David Walker joins Owens and Kinnan. Shaw calls his own number, goes ahead, fumbled the ball, but he may have gotten back on it.
He did, and he recovered it and fell forward for the first down.
Some days you got to live right. Bill Shar's having his share of it today.
Ooh, look at that, Dixon. Wow.
That was close. Shaw gets it, moves the chains to the 11-yard line, so Syracuse looks like they can still get a first down inside the 1.
Substitution. Joe Savoy, number 78, comes in at left tackle for Rutgers. He's a veteran who they like to play on the early downs, mainly against the run. They're anticipating run here from Syracuse.
1st and 10 at the 10.5. High formation, both ends in tight. Moore, the lone wideout. Hand off on the counter to Owens inside the 10, going to the 6. Yudovich is there, along with Savoy. Comes out of the ball game gripping his shoulder.
The block made by Bednar, the right guard who pulled the trap on this. You'll see 79 come across along with 62. That's Sims. They run that play, and basically this is that famous tray counter that the Washington Redskins made famous, where they step the back in one direction, pull 2 linemen through, and they go back against the grain. And that's exactly what Owens ran, the tray counter.
Gain of 5, 2nd and 5, ball at the 6.
Off the face, Buck. It's coming your way. Here we go, the quick.
Comes the quick out. It is 2 more, complete for a touchdown. Syracuse goes 2 TDs up.
And that's what they've done so effectively in the past. Coming off the option action, counter step, comes down the line of scrimmage, takes a few steps back. This time, he had Moore flank, number 14, in the wide position, and he just ran a little turn. Actually, he ran a slant pattern to the inside. Moore at 6'2", 201. Good position on the cornerback. Made the catch. And Rutgers falling behind here 12-0. Now facing the possibility of Syracuse going for 2.
And they will. Bishop's going to stay on the sideline. Missed an extra point earlier, so Dick McPherson wants his offense back on schedule. So they'll try for the 2 to make up for that and then collect another. Carpenter in motion across the formation. Back to throw. It is into the end zone. Complete. They got the two-pointer to Rob Moore, despite some heavy flack out there by Rusty Mays.
That's what he does all the time. That's what he does all the time. They just throw it up for him, and he's got great leaping ability, and Moore just goes up and catches. This is the touchdown again. Watch this. He starts out on the option. He steps down the line of scrimmage, pulls back. Here comes Moore on the slant inside. He's got position on the cornerback, Rusty Mays, and that's it. Great execution. Syracuse starting to put it together offensively.
10-10 left to go in the second quarter. Syracuse 14-0 on Rutgers.
It's a feeling of power, of substance and style. You know that you're on your way. The great American road belongs to Buick. Oh, the moment has come to go your way. The road, your Buick and you. Oh, the great American road belongs to Buick.
Humongous gas and electric?
Hello, this is Bob Davis.
Davis. Ah, yes, 24327A. What's your problem?
Our gas heater is on.
Do you smell gas, 24327A?
No, but we're free.
Well, we'll be there eventually, but do call immediately if you smell gas.
Futura Oil Heat, how may we help you?
Tired of
Yes,
big
Mr. Joe.
utility service hang-ups?
I'll send your serviceman right over.
Discover the warmth of oil heat.
When whippoorwills call
Blue.
and evening
Blue
is
heaven.
nigh, I heard tonight. Blue heaven.
Labatt's blue.
A turn to the right will lead you to mine.
Imported beer from Canada.
My blue heaven, my blue.
Let's look at the touchdown again. Rob Moore going against Rusty Mays in the backfield.
There he is. He just comes down, breaks to the inside. He's got position on him. He's also got size. Mays is in there. Much smaller man at 5'10". The Moore's 6'2". And then the conversion, the two-point conversion is on the top of the screen, working again against him. He just throws it up, and he just out-jumps him. Great position. He saw the ball all the way. Man-for-man coverage. It was two tough plays for Rusty Mays, but he's working against a great athlete there, Rob Moore.
6'2" against 5'11". There's the scoring drive. The touchdown catch by Moore is his fourth touchdown of the season. Rob Moore, an outstanding athlete and receiver, and many close observers of the Syracuse scene say he's one of the best receivers to come out of there in a long time. That includes people like Tommy Kane and Art Monk.
Gershway. A whole bunch.
There's the kick by Bishop. Allen trying to snare it down at the 6. Allen up the right sideline, and he gets out over the 28-yard line. Brian LeBaron is there to stop it. And it's going to be back at the 19, rather. So it's a 13-yard reception or return by Ron Allen.
As you look at time of possession, this has haunted Rutgers all season, particularly early in the ball game, where they don't score that much. The opposition gets to them. Look at that. What a difference so far.
So Scott Ernie gets to bring the offense out with the wind at his back here in the second period, trailing 14-0. Got McQueen split wide to the bottom. Jackson is the slot back. Screen pass coming out, complete to Mike Bonney. Bonney cuts to the sideline at the 26-yard line, and he's going to be marked out of bounds at about the 27. A late flag after.
They got a late hit out of bounds on Bonney, and the official was right there to get it. Big break for Rutgers. That was a screen. They started him off early, drop back action, dumped the ball off, figuring they're going to get a rush out of Syracuse. They did it, as we watched Joe Shirk, the referee, tell us. Just get some extra yardage added onto this play. Here's the play. Drop back action. Body sets up. Number 31 just drops off to the left side. Good execution. There's number 70, Burnett, coming in on him. Dumps the ball off. But a good effort there. Number 55 coming all the way over from the backside to force him out of bounds.
Dead ball foul. Personal foul on the kicking team. Late hit out of bounds. And it's a first down.
Talking to Tim Sandquist over there on the Syracuse sideline. So you tack on a 15-yard penalty after a 7-yard gain, and it brings the football out to the 42-yard line of Rutgers. First and 10. Straight drop for Ernie. Pass is complete to Jackson. He's brought down in Syracuse territory at the 46-yard line.
Good job by Ernie. He hung in the pocket. He was feeling a little bit of pressure, but Jackson, 83, ran a perfect pattern. He comes back to the football to take the angle away. Watch this. Here's the drop back action. Good rush, good protection. He waits for Jackson on the right side here, and Jackson, 83, comes back away from 26 Barry, the cornerback, to make the catch.
Is that a big play man or what? Randy Jackson in his 13th reception, he's had 3 of those 13 have gone for touchdowns of 90, 81, and 69 yards. That one was just about 13. First and 10. Complete? No, incomplete to James Pan. He tried to run before he received it. And it's going to stop the clock, and Mike Body gets up gingerly, as you notice. Body's dealing with a nerve problem in his leg, and it looks like he's re-injured. Gingerly going back to the Rutgers huddle as you look at Dick Anderson.
Dick Anderson knows that he's got to get some points in this first half. He's got to stay reasonably close as we watch Body come off the field, and he has had exactly that, a nerve problem. It comes up and bothers him, and he's in pain right now.
Dwight Giles is in there for him at fullback. 4 wide out. Here's Ernie across the middle, complete to Can at the 40. Can has the first down. Trying to drag it down there is Walker as he gets himself down to the 32-yard line. Another 13-yard gain for Rutgers.
You see the linebacker coming over from the far side. Again, they're pitting the back against the linebacker. That time Can came across the formation, made the hit. Watch this, 32. He'll show up in the screen. He's going to come across the formation. There he is, making the catch right there. He gets to the outside. He's got to protect that football against these guys. Number 17, Walker, the cornerback, and then Busey and Bavaro making the hit.
Let's take a look at possible trouble here for Rutgers. Mike Body there, very steady fullback on the sideline. Play comes back. Ernie scrambling to the left, complete to McQueen, but no, they say trapped it. Incomplete at the 22-yard line. Walker covering on the play.
Now what they're doing is moving him out of the pocket, sprinting him and rolling him on the corner to get away from the rush, and then let receivers who are spread all over the field find a seam. And that's what Scott Ernie's done all year, and done it very effectively.
There's Mike Body. That's going to be a lineman.
No, that's not Mike Body. He's big as the body when you're looking at it. That's 57, Nick Erda, the outstanding senior guard for Rutgers, also their backup center.
Second down and 10. Pressure. Big pressure. Burnett chasing. Hawkins chasing as well, and he throws it away at the Syracuse 15-yard line, intended for McQueen.
This is trouble, though, for Rutgers. Again, they've got a good drive going. They're putting things together. The pressure comes on Scott Ernie, and now they're looking at 3rd and long. Here it is. Watch the pressure by Burnett, number 70. He's working all the time. He's coming up, took the inside route. He's got the speed. This big 6'3", 265-pound senior. Great effort there. And here comes 95 from the backside.
Garland Hawkins.
Garland Hawkins making extra pressure. And they really put the quarterback, Ernie, in a tough situation.
Burnett got help when Rutgers fullback ran into their own offensive line, and his Ernie jump pass over the middle. It is incomplete, intended for Giles or Omar Kohler.
Never saw him. Pressure from the outside. Very disappointing series right there for Rutgers and Scott Ernie. They had it going and they lost it right there.
Now they need a punt from Pellegrini to kind of kick them beat. It looks like they're going to bring Giesler on for a field goal attempt of 50 yards.
Well, he's got the wind. He's got the wind behind him. He's just got to keep it accurate. He's on the right hash.
Coming out to hold for Rutgers, that's James Garantano, rather. It's a 50-yard attempt with a win from the right hash mark. There's the kick. It's low. Is it going to be enough? Yes, he got it. 50 yards for Doug Giesler.
What a gamble by Dick Anderson. A gamble. He had the win. If he doesn't make that one, he gives Syracuse the ball back in great field position, up 14-0, but he made it.
14-3 Syracuse. We now pause for a word from your local station.
A while back, John Barricato went car shopping.
Take a couple of these. 3
He
of those.
bought 10.
Any particular color, sir? Nah.
Then he did something really unusual.
Ready?
You see, John leads the arson team at Aetna, the company leading the fight against one of America's most expensive crimes. And if we can learn something, we don't mind burning a little cash today.
This is what you look for.
To save customers up bundles down the road.
We're going to need more cars.
There's only one Jeep. Only one Wrangler.
Wrangler.
Cheap Wrangler.
America's Virgin.
Just $93.93.
With the highest resale value in its class.
Give me my Wrangler.
Buy low.
Low and sell high.
Jeep. It's cool.
See your Tri-State Jeep Eagle dealer where you can always expect the best.
Well, you were right about the game last night. Wonder what Joe's got to say about it now. Why don't you call him up and find out? To be a sport, use the phone. New York Telephone, part of the NYNEX family.
Before you choose a body shop, what about structural tolerances? Can they really return your car to pre-accident performance? Will your car look as good as new? And do they back their work in writing? If you don't know, you better get Mako.
Big decision for Dick Anderson.
He made a big decision here. He's got to make something happen for his team. They've been very flat in the first half. They lost opportunities. He took a great chance there in trying to make that, but he knew he had to do something. He made it. If he didn't, Syracuse has a great shot in field position. He got his team back into the ball game a little bit, gave him a little something to hang over as they go in here. With 8 minutes and 35 seconds left in the second period, the defense now has to come up with the play.
That's his career long for that man. Doug Eastlew won their ball game against Boston College about 4 weeks ago, 9-7 with that late field goal in the Meadowlands. And now puts his team on the board here, trailing by 11 in the second quarter. His kick fielded by Ismail at the 10. Kadri Ismail brings the ball out to the 28-yard line. And he's brought down there by number 42, Eric Reed.
Ishmael, of course, the twin brother of the Rocket. Both of them hailing from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Exceptional speed. That's his 17th kickoff return this year.
They're starting to mention Rocket Ishmael for the Heisman because of his electrifying kickoff returns for Notre Dame this season. As you see, Bill Sharr, what a first half he's had. 2 TDs, 133 yards, and 9 out of 10. Next week, got another great American independent battle between West Virginia and Boston College at Boston College.
And we'll see another great quarterback here.
Major Harris.
Boston College with a new quarterback.
The name of Willie Hicks.
Willie Hicks makes things happen. He's got speed, he's got quickness, and they moved him in, and he's starting to deliver for him. That should be a good one.
He should be seen on most of these stations at high noon next week. So Bill Sharr is back with his offense on the field. He's got field position at his own 27. As you look from the end zone, now overhead. Syracuse leading 14-3. Play fake. Sharr to throw. Looking over the middle. It's complete to his halfback, Owens. Owens still moving in midfield. Brought down there. Finally at midfield after a gain of 23 yards.
They say that Mike Owens has the ability to make people miss, and that's exactly what he did. Up in the middle, watch this as you watch it from behind the offense. Watch 44 come from the tailback position, a little play fake to him, then he slips it in the middle. There's the ball. He dishes it off to him wide open, and right there he makes the linebacker, Bouchard, missed the tackle, and he's off to the races.
Great play by Owens. Ron Allen has to pull him down. That really gives Syracuse an opportunity to utilize all of Owens' talent. First and 10. Sharr, screen pass, Kinnan this time. Kinnan over the 45 down to about the 43-yard line. Darren Sellers makes the stop for Rutgers.
That's the ability when you got two backs who have the speed to get outside and also give you the threat of catching the football. Kinnan has that, and as does Michael Owens. Came right back after a first down, running a screen. They're keeping the Rutgers defense off bounds. Lots of good play calling here by the Syracuse offense. Doing the number. The plays are being sent down to him by George DeLeon.
Second down and 4. Syracuse at the Rutgers 43. Shaw, quick look in. It is complete to Carpenter. Catches it and goes to a knee at the 36-yard line. Gain on the play of 7.
Again, spreading the field, hitting those passes wide, taking those linebackers and covering them, and sooner or later they're going to pop somebody inside.
First down for the Orange men. A couple of long, sustaining drives here. Ball possession has been important, and Schar's pulled the trigger when he's had to.
They're working against their offensive line, dominating the line of scrimmage, and they're really going to work on a small secondary that Rutgers has. They have guys back there that just don't match up in size to the Syracuse receivers.
And off fullback, Kinnan, big opening right down the middle of the field, and he's brought down at the 10-yard line. A gain of 27 on the play.
Spread the field, get your conscious out there, and then slip it inside that time. Again, watch the blocking up front. He's running behind experience. Flannery, the center, and a trap block there by Bednar. See him come across and trap the defensive tackle Savoy, and here he is, right up the middle. Split the linebackers. And Syracuse offensively is dominating this game.
There's the junior out of Brooklyn, New York, Dwayne Kinnan. Coming into this ball game, he picked up about 110 yards rushing. Picked up 27 on that play. First and goal from just outside the 10. Here's Kinnan again over the 5. Yudovich snares him down at the 4-yard line.
We talked about the change today, the emphasis, and there's the rushing last year when they had Drummond to alternate with Owens and Johnson, great fullback they had. Today, look at Kinnan. He's coming on. There was a big difference. That's what he had coming into this ball game.
Today, the difference is very marked as Owens is getting his yardage, and now Kinnan is getting his. 10 rushes, 65 yards for Dwayne Kinnan this afternoon. Second down and about 4. You can get a first down inside the 1. Here's Owens. Got hit by Lester and still goes ahead. He's driven back at the 1-yard line, and he's going to be shy of the first down and the touchdown. Maybe close enough to measure, though, Bob.
Just overwhelming the offensive line, just surging, coming off the ball, and just dominating. And just watch the white jerseys get off the ball. Look at them get down low, take people off the blocks. Look at that block up inside. Bernard, the left tackle, and just pushing people back. And it's an overmatch right now. There's really, Rutgers has to get a break in order to stay in this ball game defensively because they're being dominated on the offensive line.
That man right there, Bednar, was one of them, along with Turnell Sims, who led the charge on the right side of the line, and they are that close to a first down. Syracuse can get a first down inside the 1. They're looking at 3rd and inches. 3rd and inches for the first down, 3rd and less than a yard for the touchdown. Syracuse leading 14-3, 5:45 left in a fast-moving first half here at Piscataway, New Jersey. It'll be a full house backfield when they come to the line, as David Walker will join Michael Owens and Dwayne Kinnan behind Bill Scharr. Now Walker lines up on a wing to the right. And off Owens. Touchdown, Syracuse. Michael Owens makes it 20-3 from a yard out.
We said coming into this ball game, it was a critical game for both teams. They had to really start putting something together. Syracuse in this first half is putting together their offense, and you have to go back to the opening game of the season against Temple where they did it. And Dick Anderson knows it. His defense has been on the field a lot. They've been dominated. It's going to be a tough chore for Rutgers to stay in this football game with Syracuse. They've got to come back, and they're going to have to do it on offense.
Biscup out of the hold of Mark McDonald for the extra point. He's missed one today. Syracuse got that back with a 2-point conversion last time out. There's the snap. Here's the kick. It's up, and it is good. So Syracuse takes a 21-3 lead on Michael Owens' touchdown run of 1 yard. 5:32 left to go in the first half of play. Here we'll see it again.
Just an off-tackle play, the tailback carrying. Kinnan leading him up off tackle in the surge. He gets hit, but he's crossed the plane and he's in for the score.
Touchdown, Syracuse. They're up 21-3.
Right now, during Isuzu's Take It to the Bank sale, generous factory cash is helping people save big bucks that they can take straight to the bank.
Hi, I'd like to make a deposit. I love this bank. You never have to wait in line.
Right now, you could save big bucks on the Isuzu pickup during our Take It to the Bank sale.
You're looking sharp. You're looking good. You've come so far. And we know how to make the most of who you are. Father to son. It's what we've always done. Gillette.
The Gillette Atra Plus system and Gillette Foamy Shave Cream, together the best a man can get.
That's Blue. Crisp, clean, imported beer from Canada.
Now, Rutgers' inability to get into the end zone has left that man without a job this afternoon.
Well, he doesn't look too inspired, that's for sure.
But Syracuse, certainly, if he were working in the other direction, they would have kept him busy today. As Dick Anderson looks on, as you see the Syracuse scoring drive, 7 plays, 73 yards. Michael Owens going in from a yard out at the 5:32 mark to make it 21-3. Syracuse leading Rutgers. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cassiola. He's got to be thinking, Bob, about really that first pass interception. It has slowed everything down here for Rutgers.
They took the kickoff, moved down the field to an interception. Syracuse got the ball back, made a drive, got a score, and it built their confidence.
This is Melton moving outside at the 30. Nice return and gets it out of bounds at the 36-yard line. There's going to be a return on the play of 14 yards. Gives Rutgers a little bit of field position to work with as they try to offset this 18-point deficit.
Gary Melton, number 15, really made this team in the spring. He was a very pleasant surprise. Watch him here as he returns the ball. And watch Biscuit, number 1. He hangs in there pretty tough. Melton breaks it to the outside. There's a one-on-one situation, and he puts the shoulder in and drives him out of bounds.
The kicker knows when he's faced with a ball carrier, chances are there's not too many people behind him. Ernie back to throw on first. Steps up. Now has to run with it. Gets ahead over the 40-yard line to about the 43. A gain of 6. And Dan Busey is there to meet him.
And that's what Syracuse is doing. They're putting 4 or 5 people on the line. They're just coming after Ernie and saying, all right, put it up if you have to. They've got him in a great situation. Ahead 21-3. The offensive line has got to block for him, but they've got to take a little pressure off him. They've got to be able to counter this stuff and look maybe to draw the ball once in a while instead of just throwing every down. And there it is.
Look at Syracuse on the mark for a 500-yard day. That's 3 trips to 1 up and down the field almost. 2nd and 4. Ernie to throw. The screen pass comes out from Mike Body. Body at the 45, and Syracuse ahead. Got the first down, and the ball popped loose, but they're gonna blow it dead at the 49-yard line.
Mike Body playing with an injured leg. You got to give him credit because he's hurting, and you could tell when he made that move. There's Woodman all over the field. Here it is. Drop back action to the screen right over the middle. Dump the ball right in the middle of the Body. 31 to fullback. He takes it. Gets up behind his blockers. Makes a pretty good move here on Bavaro just to get upfield and get the first down.
It's first down. Just at midfield. Ernie steps up again, gets away from DeRigi, goes to Body, incomplete.
He was looking deep. He was looking for Can out in the flat, but he was covered that time by David Bavaro very well, and consequently, he had to look for an outlet. The outlet wasn't there. And again, it's 2nd and 10.
And at halftime, we've got lots of things for you. We'll take a look at our Rolling Rock Review, which takes a look at Great American Independent Football from a week ago. Our Great American Champion feature, 100 years of Syracuse football. An interesting tribute today. We'll have scores from around the country, plus our Student Athlete of the Week honoring a Rutgers offensive lineman. And straight ahead now on the draw play, 2nd down, and it doesn't work for much at all. Brooks is in on the stop as Mike Body goes nowhere.
They thought they'd come into this ball game and spread the field a little bit and draw on Syracuse, trying to just turn those defensive linemen out on their blocking scheme. But that time, George Rooks, the sophomore, made the hit, and again, it's third and long, and tough situation for Scott Ernie and Rutgers offense, and they've faced it a lot already in this ballgame, and there it is. Yards rushing -1. Trying to live by the pass. This could be dangerous.
Here's Ernie. Ernie trying to scramble away. He's still got his feet going long.
Look at
no one downfield, almost picked off. That time by Sandquist. But boy, was he running for his life. Burnett was giving him all that he could ask for.
Watch number 70, Rob Burnett, the senior top pass rusher, 3-year starter, just a great effort, runs around. Number 75, Milano, the offensive tackle, he just never lets up. He's very active, highly regarded. Rob Burnett.
Pellegrini in the ballgame now to kick. This is his third punt of the afternoon. It'll be 4th down and 12. Rutgers trailing 21-3. Bangs it up in the air where it touches the wind. Coming down with it, Walker. Walker at the 20. Moves ahead and gets brought down at the 22-yard line. A 40-yard punt on the play, and Syracuse will set up from their own 21.
And Allen with the Rutgers tackler.
What's for lunch? Human. What's for lunch?
Human.
What's for lunch?
Human. I only want the best for my family. Human's cold cuts are extremely lean. No artificial coloring, low in salt. There's absolutely no MSG. And the kids just love them.
What's for lunch?
Give us a couple of Rolling Rocks, please. Repeat after me. We tender this premium beer. We tender this premium beer for your enjoyment. For your enjoyment. As a tribute to your good taste. As a tribute to your good taste. It comes from the mountain springs. It comes from the mountain springs. To you. To you. 33. 33? I now pronounce you man and beer.
Rolling Rock. Same as it ever was.
Welcome back to Rutgers Stadium. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cassiola. It's 21-3 in favor of Syracuse, but it's Rutgers homecoming.
Rutgers homecoming has not played well, and the crowd is starting to get at it. You can hear the boos and the discontent. Here in this situation, up 21-3, Syracuse likes to do the unexpected. And don't be surprised if Shar comes up top and they go for the big one right now, try and bury Rutgers before the half.
Rob Moore is split wide to the bottom of your screen. Wide to the top is Rob Carpenter. Each of those wideouts has caught a TD pass from Bill Shar today. Here comes the option. Toss to Owen. Owen's out around the 30. Flag thrown into the play at the 31-yard line. It'll be a gain of about 8. Let's see what the flag's all about.
The flag's going to go probably against Syracuse. Some type of illegal block downfield.
It's a hold.
Okay.
And that'll march back this 8-yard gain.
That time he came up over the ball, Shar, and he was looking to throw the ball. He saw the coverage. Rutgers was well off the ball, and he automatic to a running play because he knew he could get on the corner. He had pushed the support, the run support defense away.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty.
Let's watch Rob Moore in this situation.
Rob Moore coming down. He decides to block on 22. That's Marshall Roberts, the cornerback, and he is grabbing him, and that's where the penalty was thrown. Exactly, right there. Good camera work to pick that up.
That puts Syracuse back at their own 22. And it's going to be first down. They mark it off from the spot of the foul. Shar back to throw. Screen pass, swinging it to Owens. It's incomplete, and good thing it was covered by Scott Miller.
Good job by Miller, the big defensive tackle, the senior out of Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Miller, the most active of the defensive linemen, number 99. Really came in, had a knee injury last year, late in the season, missed a lot of time, was bothered this year by injuries early on, and they felt he was just starting to come on. He's the one guy in their defense for Rutgers that can make a big play for him. That time he was out there covering on the screen.
It's a only the second incompletion that Shar's thrown thus far this afternoon. He's got 2 touchdowns to his credit, 133 yards coming into this drive. It's 2nd and 10. Shaw back to throw, and he's caught from behind.
Got to use the clock here, Rutgers. You got to shut the ball back. You got to use the clock.
Chuck Paw is there with the sack.
Chuck Paw comes in for Savoy. Savoy's the run defensive tackle against the run. Paw gives him a little better pass rush. He's a veteran. He's played a lot of positions for him. Backed up, started when injuries occurred. Chuck Paw made the hit. Watch this, number 58. The pressure's good. They keep him in contained, and Paw comes from the left side off the block of number 64. McCummings, the left guard, and makes the hit.
Brings up 3rd down and 13. Ball's back on the 20-yard line of Syracuse. 2:21, clock rolling. Syracuse up 21-3. Shar swings it out to Kinnan at the 20. Kinnan still on his feet at the 30. Brought down at about the 31-yard line. Gain of 11, maybe 12. Clock still rolling, 2 minutes left.
One of the few times today the Rutgers defense has held them, but they got a penalty early on to help them. But that time they swarmed a little bit and they ganged back, kept Dwayne Kinnan inbounds. And the clock is ticking on Rutgers. I'm sure they want to get something here before the half.
4th down and about 1.
But Syracuse is kicking into a wind of about, what did we say it was, 20?
About 20 miles an hour out of the south, and it hasn't slackened a bit as the clouds come over the field here. Officials are backing everybody away from the ball. What has happened is that the ball is close enough for measurement. So when it's within a yard, they'll bring it in and take a look at it. Joe Shirk brings the chains in. See how close they are. Close, well, very close. I would say 6 to 8 inches there. Joe Shirk makes the call. It's going to be 4th down and inches.
Now, Syracuse may try, and Rutgers has got to be aware of it, draw them offside.
Ken Hawkins is going to come in to at least standard punt formation. Back deep now is Marshall Roberts for Rutgers. 1:45 left to go in the first half. I would expect exactly as you point out, as you look at Marshall Roberts, exactly as you point out, Bob, I wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse takes a long time to get this snap away. You look at Ken Hawkins on for his first punt of the day, maybe. Syracuse looks to test the patience of that Rutgers defensive line. Getting ready to cover this punt. They've got 10 men across. 1 back, and they don't look like they're going to drop anybody. Hopkins lined up back at his own 17. The long snap. There's the kick. Hopkins into the wind. Roberts at the 41. Roberts returns it out to about the 43-yard line. It's going to be a punt on the play of 27 yards. Not bad into the teeth of that wind at a 3-yard return. Greco in on the stop for Syracuse.
Well, we've got 1:20 on the clock. They've got to put it up. They've got to try and come away and get another shot at making some points before the half. But their offense has really been grabbing. There's been no consistency. And really, Scott Ernie's been harassed by Syracuse and putting a lot of pressure on them. They're coming right now at 4.
4 wide outs. Ernie's scrambling for his life. Gets away from Wooden. Now lets it fly to the sideline to stop the clock intended for McQueen.
Can't handle Terry Wooden. He's just too strong and too active for him. They had hoped today to get him off the line of scrimmage with their formation so he can get a pass coverage. That time he just came after him and just never gave Scott Ernie a chance. And you're looking at one of the great defensive football players in the country from Hartford, Connecticut, the senior, 6'2", 232. He's very, very special. Finest linebacker ever.
But a penalty on the play as well, a defensive hold.
Defense. That's an eligible receiver. It's a first down.
Well, that's a break.
10 yards.
That's a break.
Done by the secondary against an eligible receiver downfield. It's a 10-yard penalty. It gives Rutgers field position at the 48. When you talk about Terry Wooden, you're talking about a man who 12 tackles and 2 sacks against Penn State in a losing cost a week ago. He was All-East last year, All-American honorable mention 2 years in a row. He is a load to handle at outside linebacker. 1st and 10. Minute and 12 left in the half. Screen play set up, or is he scrambling for his life? Ernie running room to the sideline. He gets knocked out of bounds by guess who? Terry Wooden.
Terry Wooden, he was being chased down.
And it's going to be an 8-yard gain. It'll bring up second down.
That was O'Rourke, number 96, who was really coming from the backside, the big defensive tackle in there, and he was chasing him down. Wooden adjusted, pushed him out of bounds, stopped the clock. Second down and 1. Watch this. There's O'Rourke, 96, pushing and pressuring him from the backside. He's running for his life, and now watch number 90 come over here and finally get him out of bounds.
Back to throw again. Into the middle, it is complete to Melton. Melton at the 25, down to the 22-yard line.
Now they got to use their timeout. They've got to take their timeout and take one right here.
And they do. It's a 17-yard gain, stopping the clock with the timeout with 57 seconds left to go in the first half. Rutgers down 21-3, looking for 7 here. They'd love to have 7 or 8 by halftime.
One thing about their offense this year, their offense stammers and staggers, but they do come on in spurts, and they can put 2-3 touchdowns together in no time, particularly late in the ball game. They have to get a score here. One, because it brings them closer, but more importantly, psychologically, they need a score.
Dickie Pearson watched some of his players come to the sideline and talk to him during the timeout.
He's got Walker over there, his cornerback. He's bringing the secondary over. That's what he's talking to him. The question now, does Syracuse go man? Do they go tight, or do they stay in a zone coverage? And if they go tight, they can put pressure on him. There's Whiteman, Sean Whiteman, the senior out of Clearwater. He's one of the cornerbacks along with Greg Walker. The whole secondary comes over. They've got the nickel back in there, Darryl Jones, number 35. So they've got 5 defensive backs in the ballgame.
And Ben Ernie will put all of his weapons to use here. He's got, you see Randy Jackson, number 83. You see James Cann, who's a potential receiver out there. You also see Melton to the right of Ernie. Mike Votty throws to his backs a lot. Out of his 107 passes completed thus far this season, Ernie had gone to his backs 40 times. But right now they need 6. 57 seconds left in the first half. Syracuse 21-3. Touchdowns by Carpenter, Moore, and Owens against the 50-yard Geisler field goal. Here's Ernie. Rolling out, he'll tuck it under and run himself. Gets ahead to about the 16-yard line.
He's got to huddle him right away. Doesn't want to use a timeout here, so he's got 2 plays called.
Clock rolling, 44 seconds left. Rutgers with no huddle. Second down and about 4. Ernie to the sideline. Complete to Melton, and he got out of bounds at the 12. Very close to a first down. Maybe shy of about a yard. Covering on the play, Sean Whiteman.
Big point was he got out of bounds and stopped the clock. He had 2 shots now. 3rd down and 2. 2 shots here with 35 ticks still left in the second period.
And 2 timeouts remaining. 21-3, Syracuse on top. Ernie again, 3rd and 2. Steps up, gets the first down, he's inside the 10. They'll have to stop the clock again.
Now they've got to call a timeout right here. They've got to use the second one.
They'll get a slight stoppage to move the chains after he got the first down inside the 10. And now they stop it with 28 seconds left and take their second timeout.
And he's taking a beating, but he's hanging in there. What a competitor Scott Ernie is, the senior out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, with part of that wet turf in his face. But here it is. They roll him, counter and roll him out. Big tackle pulling on the play was Milano, and then he knows he's got to run for the first down here. Good job. That might have been designed that way. Call the timeout. Discuss now what we're going to do. 28 seconds left. We got 4 shots of getting in the end zone.
And they got a timeout to use as well. 8 yards, really not indicative of what he's done on this drive, but it overcomes some of the losses he's taken on sacks earlier. Scott Ernie, 2 years running the most valuable player offensively for this team. He started from the 4th game of his freshman year, came in for an injured quarterback, and has stayed in the position ever since. A lot of people like what that young man brings to Rutgers offense. In many ways, he represents just about 90% of Rutgers offense.
One of the things you like right in this situation is a tight end. Tight end that, because you may get man covered, a tight end that you can slip in and maybe get the ball to him in these situations for the score. For Rutgers, they really haven't used their tight end. They've only thrown to him twice. That's been Scott Blanche. 1 for a touchdown last week, the first time, for 16 yards. They're in the ball game now without a tight end. They've got 4 wide receivers.
First and goal from the 9. 28 seconds left.
Go back.
Rutgers down. 5 wide receivers. Rolling to his left. Ernie gets outside. Looks into the end zone and throws it away, intended for McQueen.
Came with 3 receivers to one side, motioned the final one over, 4 receivers to one side. Excellent job by Syracuse in covering his receivers, put pressure on him from the inside. Watch this. Here comes Scott Ernie rolling to his left. He's got 4 receivers out here. Good job by the linebacker. Here comes 55 Busey up to put pressure on him. The only man he could get was McQueen. He was in the back line of the end zone, but he had to elevate the ball to get it to him, and there wasn't a chance.
Looked like he had Melton open there for a moment, but Busey got in front of him, so he couldn't see him. The stride started back to the Rutgers 42 after the punt. 22 seconds left, second down and goal. Ernie over the middle to Melton, incomplete. He'd gotten behind the defender.
Saying man-for-man coverage. Melton from the outside crosses underneath. Watch this. It's like a pick play. And Melton 15 is going to come underneath, loses man in the process. That's the play they wanted. He's open. Got to make the catch. Right there. Got to make the catch. He knows it.
Stops the clock with 18 seconds left. Brings up third and goal from the 9. Syracuse 21, Rutgers 3. Rutgers trying to make something happen before halftime.
Backside.
Here comes the throw. It is incomplete, intended for Melton again at the 2. And Ernie got leveled.
Whiteman on the coverage. The cornerback was right there. The ball was a little bit behind the receiver. And watch this. As he rolls to his left, you can see 15 Melton in the corner, covered by number 22, Whiteman. There he is. Good job by Whiteman. Ball thrown behind him. Tough catch to make that time. Pressure from the backside created that, and that's what Syracuse has done. They put pressure on Scott Ernie, and now, without taking a chance, Dick Anderson feels, hey, we've got to get something here. He's going to go for 3.
Ball will be set right down the middle of the field for Giesler, who hit from 50 yards out last time, setting a new career high for himself. 32 is his previous season high. This one will be of about 27. There's the kick. It is up, and it is good. So Rutgers comes away with a field goal as the cannon fires in the far end zone. Doug Giesler has accounted for all of the offense here for Rutgers this afternoon with 11 seconds left to go in the first half of play. It's 21-6 Syracuse. You look at Giesler, but a drive that started from their own 42. They moved it downfield sprightly. Some big runs by Ernie himself. Next week, we move to Chestnut Hill in Massachusetts. Boston College, the Eagles, winning their first game a week ago against Temple, taking on West Virginia and Major Harris. Of course, Boston College with a new quarterback, Willie Hicks.
Boston College starting off very tough, losing a lot of games, and then changing quarterbacks to Hicks, and now trying to put it together a little bit. And I think, they had a big win last week against Temple, and they've got Navy today. They're looking to regroup a little bit, and it should be a tough one up there because West Virginia, too, is struggling a little bit after a tough loss, a big upset loss to Virginia Tech.
And, of course, the tie with Pittsburgh kind of started the domino effect on West Virginia. They had an off week a week ago. They're playing Cincinnati today. As you look at Doug Giesler, he's had a 50 and a 27-yard field goal to win the books. Rutgers trailing here by 15, 21-6 at halftime. Giesler, onside kick. Went out of bounds before Rutgers could recover. It's going to be a penalty against Rutgers on the kick. Good intentions. Looked like they had a man downfield to get it. That was James Jenkins. Looked like he was in pursuit of the ball.
They're going to take the ball right here, and why not?
With a procedure on the kicking team will be declined. First down, White.
Why not? With 11 seconds to go, Syracuse makes a wise choice here. They get the ball in great field position, at least put the ball up and try and come away with some points themselves. So it backfired on Rutgers. They tried to gamble here. Now Syracuse look at the ball with the ball sitting on the 49-yard line of Rutgers.
It's on the left hash, or the right hash rather, and it is, of course, with a wind at Bill Shar's face of about 20 miles per hour, but he welcomes the opportunity. He's thrown the ball long a couple of times thus far this afternoon. By and large, it's been a controlled passing attack. He'll have 3 wide receivers to the top and 1 to the bottom. Moore is on bottom. Shar has time. Now scrambles up inside and gets brought down at the 50-yard line. Marty Mays coming in for the tackle now for Rutgers.
And that was a big one by Marty Mays. They needed that because he was ready to throw it up. They could have come away with anything here.
Shar is saying, I could have called timeout, but the clock apparently ran out before the officials had noted it. Now Joe Shirk is going to bring him back and say, hey, wait a second. Syracuse is going to get one more play, it looks like. The determination is how much remains on the clock. I guess it's moot just as long as something. Dick Anderson headed to the sideline.
Oh, he is not happy either.
The clock was stopped for a timeout with 4 seconds left on the clock. We're going to put 4 seconds back on the clock. Timeout, Syracuse.
He wants a penalty. And he wants a penalty for his team running on the field. That's what he's yelling and screaming at that official for.
Dick McPherson there. The bespectacled coach next to him is George DeLeon, the offensive coordinator, as they talk to Bill Shar and decide what they want to do with this last play. Now the clock at the end zone shows 2 seconds. Now it's back to 4. It matters not. There's just one play left in this offense here. As you see the scoreboard, shows Syracuse leading 21-6 and the time remaining.
What Shar wants to do is have enough time to put the ball in the end zone and hope somebody comes up with it. Simple as that. But he's throwing against a little bit of a wind here, so that could be a factor. But Bill Shar has had a very good first half, and he's come under a lot of criticism this year, but first half of this ball game, he's executed well. He's thrown the ball extremely well. But Syracuse has helped themselves by establishing a running game today using their fullback and their tailback.
Defense is deep. They've got the deep side of the field covered fairly well. Rutgers, 4 men deep.
Going to rush with 3 and just play back with 8.
Cover the wideouts with 1 apiece. Shar back to throw, puts it up. Carpenter is down in the vicinity. It is intercepted by Rutgers at the 9-yard line. No, it's out of bounds. Backing out of bounds at the time was Mays, Rusty Mays, as time runs out on Syracuse in this drive. But the Orange men lead by a score of 21-6. Halftime, we've got lots of things coming up for you. Syracuse got their offense going, and they lead it here at intermission.
Okay, guys, I'm closing up early tonight.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say good night, sweetheart.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Rolling Rock, same as it ever was.
The fun is always shining at Wild Dunes. It's where the cool life is better. Wild Dunes.
Great golf at Wild Dunes, as low as $71.50 per person per day. For details, call 1-800-845-8880.
Come on, put some stuff in your life. The fun is always shining at Wild Dunes.
There's a special breed of people who do battle day after day. Their arena, the business world. Their territory, the road. They are the Road Warriors.
Ray Camp. Dave! On the road again, huh? 3 cities this week. Hey, Mary Hanson, sales director for Land.
Hi.
And Howard Johnson is the place the Road Warrior chooses when he gets ready for the road. Again and again. Howard Johnson, home of the Road Warriors.
Since 1870, Syracuse University has offered those seeking a higher education the opportunity to share in its rich tradition of academic excellence and diversity. Over 300 different programs are offered by the university's 14 schools and colleges. Many of the programs, including those of the Newhouse School of Public Communications and the Maxwell School of Citizenship, enjoy international reputations. Syracuse University, the education of a lifetime.
Welcome back to Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. There's our halftime score. It's Syracuse leading Rutgers by a score of 21-6. It's Rutgers homecoming, but it's been Syracuse. And they've been a pretty good road team all season long. As a matter of fact, the last 3 years they've done well on the road.
They play extremely well on the road. They like to play on the road, and they're playing on the road. They're playing on a grass surface, and everybody talks about what it means. And really, that's not a factor anymore. They really move the ball well. But most of all, they've been impressive on the ground. And And you got to give credit to Bill Shaw because he's played extremely well this first half.
He's been outstanding in the first half. Let's take a look at what everybody shoots for here in the Eastern football. Supremacy in the Lambert Meadowlands Trophy, a measure of what's going on in Division 1A football in Syracuse. Pittsburgh still riding high at the top.
Pittsburgh off this week. Next week they go against Notre Dame, but they're hanging in there, and Penn State closing in on them. And West Virginia, who we'll see next week up at Boston College in third place. And Syracuse here, they can win decisively today. Of course, they'll make their road back to where a lot of people thought they belong in the East, and that's on the top.
And, of course, Rutgers, as you see down there in the 6th position, a win today could mean a lot for them as they look at the second half of the season, having already played 6 games and going to 2-2. Let's take a look at what happened with some of our great American independents. Some great action last week with Penn State and Syracuse and some of the other teams that got involved in the action. Let's take a look at our Rolling Rock review. Rolling Rock Beer presents the Rolling Rock Review, a look at last week in great American independent football. At the Carrier Dome, the final visit for the Nittany Lions to Syracuse in a series that dates back to 1924. Joe Paterno's had success against Eastern Independents, winning 85% of the matchups.
Dick McPherson was trying to make Syracuse the first team to beat a Joe Paterno-coached Penn State club 2 consecutive years.
Things look good for the Orangemen early. This Rob Thompson interception, the first of 2 on the day, gave Syracuse the ball inside the Penn State 20-yard line for the 3rd time in the first quarter.
But Syracuse could only manage 2 John Biscup field goals. This one from 26 yards out and trailed 10-6 at the half.
Then the third quarter, all Penn State. This 84-yard punt return by O.J. McDuffie capped a 17-point third-quarter scoring burst for the Lions and handed Syracuse their 3rd consecutive defeat, 34-12. In the meantime, Alumni Field, Boston College, this first quarter epitomized Temple's difficult year. Temple cornerback number 7, Gary Mobley, will intercept this Willie Hicks pass, but he fumbles on the return, and BC's Kendrick Scarrett recovers for the touchdown, the first of 16 first-quarter points by the Eagles.
The best part of the Owls' offense all season has been Ventress Stevenson, who goes 26 yards for the score, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season.
The big hero of the game, BC kicker Brian Lowe, who with this 42-yard field goal, his 3rd of the game, became the Eagles' all-time leading scorer. Boston College beats Temple. Last Saturday at Pittsburgh, this man was the busiest man on the field.
Offensive, illegal man downfield, 5 yards, still 3rd.
7 first-quarter penalties and a 12-yard touchdown pass from Alton Grizzard, and Jerry Dawson had Navy ahead 7-0, and Pitt coach Mike Gottfried down on his knees.
But the Panthers recovered behind the running of Adam Walker, whose first carry of the second half was a 10-yard TD run to put Pittsburgh on top by 10.
The Pitt defense, anchored by Mark Spindler, shut down the ball and kept the Pitt Panthers undefeated. Elsewhere, Kentucky beats Rutgers at Lexington under the lights, 33-26. It's Army 45-9 winners over Holy Cross. Cadet back Mike Mayweather with 171 yards and 3 TDs. More at halftime from Rutgers after this word from your local station.
American business can save millions of dollars every year with the UPS Next Day Air Letter. Unlike other companies which frequently charge up to $14, UPS, because we're so efficient, charges only $8.50. And we guarantee overnight delivery to every address, coast to coast. The UPS Next Day Air Letter, the super saver of overnight letters.
Over the past few years, a battalion of strangely equipped individuals has been roaming the American workplace, testing the air for substances that shouldn't be there, things that might make people sick, and insurance premiums skyrocket. Now, some find Aetna's approach a little unexpected.
Sorry, excuse me?
But when was the last time your insurance company did anything more surprising than mail you a bill?
And now the Wandering Prince with Miss Elena Hernandez, prima ballerina, and Mr. Jim Burt, former nose tackle, New York Giants.
They say you'll never get rich playing another man's game. So when it comes to managing your money, all we play is our game, mutual funds. And we've gotten pretty good at it. We're Oppenheimer Fund Management. Ask your financial advisor about Oppenheimer.
We'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the other car makers of the world for so successfully demonstrating why everyone should own a Honda. Honda, the car that sells itself. At your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Tri-Honda dealer.
To Piscataway, New Jersey, we're at halftime where Syracuse holds a 21-6 edge on the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers as part of their homecoming. So far, Syracuse being the spoiler here this afternoon. And Syracuse, of course, marking a 100th anniversary of their fine football tradition. You talk about Syracuse football tradition, you're talking about people like Ernie Davis and Floyd Little and Jim Brown and Larry Zonka. And there's another man who's involved who found a way to memorialize or immortalize what has been a great football tradition. We're going to meet him right now. He's a man who was a part of that in the late 1950s, and he's a man who's found a way to honor Syracuse football. Our great American champion, Jim Ridley.
The oil heat industry presents Great American Champions. This year, 100 years of Syracuse football is celebrated, a tradition that is full with rich heritage. Over 900 games tucked safely in the record books, and all the greats that have come and gone. A few weeks back, the university celebrated its centennial with a dinner and the unveiling of a piece of art commissioned by the university to a wonderful artist and man, James Ridlin. This beautifully balanced assemblage tracks SU football year by year so that every former player may find a part of himself through a photo or piece of memorabilia. Even Ridlin himself has a memory here.
I majored in art at Syracuse while I was on a football scholarship, and then I was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, and I played 6 years with the San Francisco 49ers, and then was traded to Dallas and played in Dallas for 2 years.
After 8 years of professional football combined with night school, Jim returned to Syracuse to teach art and coach football. And suddenly the request for exhibits began flocking in.
I had that empathy for athletics and the love of art, and I think some of the commissions I've been getting lately have given me the ability to use both those things, my love of a sport and my feeling for art.
Ridlin not only designed this assemblage for ABC Wide World of Sports, but recently designed their collection celebrating the network's 20th anniversary of Monday Night Football. In addition, last year he was commissioned to design the Outland Trophy and Disney's 35th anniversary sculpture. But most importantly, the first 100 years of Syracuse football is captured in an assemblage that itself should be celebrated by every fan and former player.
I wanted it to be a total piece representing Syracuse football, so that any individual could look at it and feel the total quality of what happened in 100 years at Syracuse University.
Jim personifies the perfect combination, the athlete and the artist. Now I'd refer to him as the artist and the athlete.
We've got that artist and athlete along with us, Jim Ridlin. Jim, you've done so many things to your credit here as far as trophies and assemblages, and you did that one in particular. Was that one a particularly hard one for you to do because you were personally involved?
No, I think it was the easiest to do because I felt so much for it. Looking at Syracuse football history, and it's so rich, 100 years of history. And it was fun being a historian as well as an artist on this project.
Jim, when you look at yourself, aside from being associated with the university in a teaching capacity, you've kept yourself in it by being involved with the football and the broadcasting. What does that mean to you? What a combination.
Well, it breaks up the week. It's fun. And Syracuse has been fun the past 3 years. We've been a winning football team, and it's great to go. You set the 50-yard line. People pay you for it. It's wonderful. I just love being part of the university that way, and also being the observer on campus and getting to meet these kids and talk to these kids and watch the balance between their academic and athletic life is just wonderful and rewarding.
Well, also in this first half, you got to be, if you're a Syracuse broadcaster, it's been wonderful and rewarding so far for Syracuse and their offense.
Well, it's the first time this season that the offense has complemented the defense. The defense has been very good this season, but the offense hasn't quite pulled through for them. And it looked like the old scenario on the first drive when they get down to the end zone and couldn't put it in, fumble it, and threw that scoring opportunity away. But from that point on, they've been terrific, and it looks like a nice balance of offense and defense out there this afternoon.
Well, Jim, we want to thank you and congratulate you for all of your achievements, especially that 100-year tribute to Syracuse football.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and good luck for the rest of this season.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. It's halftime here at Syracuse right now, putting that 100 years of football to good measure. They're using it to lead Rutgers by a score of 21-6. It's homecoming here at Rutgers.
What's for lunch? Human. What's for lunch?
Simmons.
What's for lunch?
Simmons. I only want the best for my family. Simmons cold cuts are extremely lean. No artificial coloring, low in salt. There's absolutely no MSG. And the kids just love them.
What's for lunch?
Nothing's too good for my baby. Nothing. So my baby gets very special treatment.
There's a gasoline so special, it even exceeds BMW's detergency standard.
Fill it up. Ultra.
Sunoco Ultra 94. Clean power from the highest octane under the sun. Nothing else can match it.
Nothing.
See you back. Oh, no. Hey, Buzzface. Matthew, did you lose your razor? I can't get around my Adam's apple. You can't get around half your face.
You can reach every place on your face with the new Slim Twin razor system. Slim Twin has the slimmest cartridge to shave hard-to-reach places and a choice of pivot or fixed-head shaving.
That's pretty good. How do I look? Ugly.
New Slim Twin reaches every place on every face, from shaving.
What I like about teaching more than anything, I think, though, is the sort of freedom and independence of expression that teaching allows me and life in the academy allows me. I could have done a number of other things, but after I finished my doctoral program, I decided that I was going to teach, and I'm very happy with teaching. And there's something about that academic freedom that's very important to me that the institution allows.
Now it's time for the Sunoco Scoreboard, brought to you by your local Sunoco dealer who offers you Sunoco Ultra 94. Let's look across the map of college football right now, and the Duke Blue Devils have got it cranked up at College Park, 22-3. They're leading at halftime, but look at that big score of the SEC.
Yeah, playing down in Alabama. Tennessee trailing by 2 in the second quarter. Tight ball game. Very important to both teams in the SEC.
Look at this game up at Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Navy played well against Pittsburgh last week, and they continue to play well against the Eagles, leading by 10 in the second.
Illinois and Michigan State up in Spartan country. Illinois leading 7-0 in the second quarter.
Elsewhere around the country, it's Lafayette at Army, a long-standing rivalry between those two in the second quarter. Army leading at Mikey Stadium 13-7.
West Virginia taking a week off, resting, getting their offense going. Now they seem to have it in gear, and Major Harris, we'll see him next week, up 28-0 at the half.
And our score at the half finds Syracuse leading Rutgers by a score of 21-6. So far, Bill Schaar has had a very, very strong first half.
Bill Schaar's had a great first half, but more importantly, they put their fullback back in their offense, and Kinnan is running hard from the inside, creating problems inside, and giving them a chance not only to get the tailback on the corner running the football, but throwing the ball. Bill Schaar has been the answer, but I think the big key, and Jim Ridlon alluded to it, is the fact that the running game is going, particularly in the fullback position. Rutgers is going to have to try and do something about stopping the running game.
Well, you know, Rutgers would like to get their running game going, but they're down 21-6. One of the key instruments of getting anybody's offense going is, of course, the key of an offensive lineman like Steve Chardy. And Steve Chardy is not only a right guard for Rutgers, but he is our Infinity Student Athlete of the Week. Let's meet him.
The Great American Independent Football Student Athlete of the Week, presented by Infinity, a new concept in luxury cars. This week's award goes to Steve Chardy, an offensive guard for Rutgers. As well as excelling as a lineman for the Scarlet Knights, Steve is an outstanding student in one of the most difficult of majors.
Civil engineering, really deals with a broad area. It deals with everything from road work to bridges and, to the internal structures of buildings.
As a top offensive lineman for the team and the winner of several Scholar Athlete Awards, Steve has obviously found his key to handling the pressures of practice time, games, and the need for study time.
Well, I think the most important thing is to be disciplined, in trying to get, both aspects done. It's not always easy. I mean, you do have to make some sacrifices if you want to do well in the classroom. But I feel that discipline is the most important part.
Last year, Steve was voted the team's top offensive lineman. And this year, he has Rutgers' nomination to the National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame postgraduate scholarship, all adding up to a bright future.
After graduating from Rutgers, I'll get into the civil engineering field, probably start off working for some type of consultant firm, and then I'm sure later on I'll pursue a master's degree.
Our student athlete of the week, Steve Chardy, second team All-East, All-American honorable mention. And right now, his team, Rutgers, trailing Syracuse here at the break, 21-6. We pause now for a word from your local station.
Mr. Ian McKenzie. I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road.
Today, with service to 175 countries,
You've been wanting Ian Alistair Mackenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people,
Also for McKenzie.
including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair Mackenzie. No trouble finding me, did you, lad?
No trouble at all. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Time to make the dough now.
Don't be a chump. Get a decent night's sleep for once. But all the nice folks will want fresh Dunkin' Donuts.
It takes a lot of willpower to make Dunkin' Donuts fresh day and night.
But we think it's worth it. But we think it's worth it.
And you'll think it's worth it. Now at Dunkin' Donuts, get the big one coffee, or get a bigger one. Take away our famous fresh brewed coffee in our 14-ounce travel mug or our new 30-ounce thermos.
The closer you look at Jeep Cherokee, Ford Bronco 2, or Chevy S10 Blazer, the better Jeep Cherokee looks. Only Cherokee offers 4 doors. Jeep Cherokee gives you more room, standard seating for 5, more cargo space, more horsepower, and all these savings right now. Before you buy a Ford or Chevy, see your Jeep and Eagle dealer for a really close look at a Jeep Cherokee. See your Tri-State Jeep Eagle dealer where you can always expect the best. What you're looking at is a first. Color, sound, graphics, power. All at a price that allows the creative mind to reach its full potential. Amiga from Commodore, the computer for the creative mind. JP Sports' exclusive presentation of Great American Independent Football is brought to you by Jenny Light, some serious suds. By Howard Johnson, where the road warrior gets ready for the road. By Thuman's, the deli best, makers of the official hot dog of Great American Independent Football. And by Infinity, a new concept in luxury cars.
Welcome back to Piscataway, New Jersey, where Syracuse leading Rutgers here at halftime, 21-6, and they have thrown up the offense. But here's the big play that turned things around early. First series of plays for Rutgers. They're moving downfield, and Scott Ernie's ready to put it up.
Scott Ernie puts it up here. The drive is going. They're in control. He lays the ball up. And here comes the safety man, Rob Thompson. And he just steps in front of the receiver. McQueen makes a clutch interception. That's his 6th of the season, by the way, which puts him 3rd nationally. And that turned it around, and Syracuse went down the field and got some scores. As you look at these stats, there's a lot of things that pop at you, from rushing yardage to passing yardage, but most importantly,
time of possession. And that rushing yardage statistic for Syracuse, by the way, 105 yards is what they've averaged per game thus far this season. They've got that at halftime. They wanted to get their ground game untracked. They've done it thus far this afternoon, and they've done it with a fullback. Rutgers, in the meantime, with only 22 yards, and their leading rusher is Scott Ernie, the quarterback. They've not gotten close to what they wanted to accomplish offensively.
Yes, and really the pressure's been on Ernie throwing the football, too.
Dick McPherson likes what he's seen. He likes what he's seen of Dwayne Kinnan thus far this afternoon. 10 carries, 65 yards on the day, and that has made the difference. When you look at Syracuse's years of success, it's because of a balanced ground attack involving not only the fullback, not only the halfback, but the quarterback. They haven't got the quarterback game going, but the other two have worked very well.
On the other side, Dick Anderson knows, trailing 21-6. He's got to do something right away. He's got to hang in this ball game in the third period because Rutgers has come alive late in the game. They get the thing going so far. So Dick knows this next period is very important for his ball club. He's got to stay close and try and get some points.
Let's take a look at Dwayne Kinnan. We illustrate the point of the fullback.
Well, we illustrate the point. Here it is. He drops the ball off. We got to remember he's a fine receiver coming out of the backfield on this little screen action in the open field. He runs like a wide receiver, and this way he picks his blocking, gets the ball upfield, great field position, eventually led to another score for Syracuse. But he's been the key. 43, a junior out of Brooklyn, New York. Dwayne Kinnan and Dick McPherson gets his club out there, and now he's got the football to open up his second half, and Rutgers will be kicking to him. Rutgers with the wind at their back. Syracuse going into the wind. Now it's important for the Rutgers defense to hold.
Of course, Kinnan started as a wide receiver in the Syracuse system, moved to tailback, and then this year was moved to fullback with the departure of Dale Johnson. Doug Giesler has 50 and 27-yard field goals to his credit, kicks it away, and we're underway. Kadri Ismail, that's the goal line, brings it out down the right sideline, cuts toward the middle of the field, and immediately gets hit and drilled right there by number 55, Todd Lane. Looked to be the first man that got in through, and all of a sudden stopped Ismail's forward progress. Look at Bill Shar's performance. 13 out of 60. He had 52% of his passes coming in, but he didn't turn it over this time.
And Ernie, 10 for 21. Not a very good percentage, but he scrambled for every one of those 132 yards. Pressure on him constantly. He tried to move him out of the pocket, roll him, sprint him out, drop back. Syracuse coming on him all the time.
Syracuse preferred their option to the second half. They got the wind at their face in the third quarter. Leading 21-6. Hand off to Owens. Owens straight ahead. Not much happening there. Off left tackle. Gets over the 25.
You made a very good point. They deferred their option to the second half. They took the ball here in the second half. They're going into the wind. That's why it's so important to control it, because they know in the fourth period they're going to have the wind. And that's a factor in the kicking game and everything else. But most importantly, if they can control it here and even get some points, they'll really be in excellent condition going in the fourth period.
Having Rutgers to come from behind going into the wind. There's Bill Shar. He's checking that directory of plays he can choose from, maybe check off too. See it there on his left sleeve. He's back to throw with play action. Over the middle of the field, it is incomplete, intended for Rob Moore.
Great coverage on Moore, but more importantly, 63 Spidell got his hand up in front of him and just distracted him enough. Watch this. They need the linebackers to help underneath. This is called he's just running a dig pattern. He comes down and he breaks it across the middle. This is it. And as he comes, watch on the left side of the screen, we just missed it. Spidell, number 63, was there with his hand just enough to get in front of him.
3rd down and 5 coming up. Ball at the 28-yard line of Syracuse. Syracuse leading 21-6, just underway, second half. Dees is tight end in a wing. Back to throw. Flags are thrown, whistles blown, and Owens caught the ball near the 30-yard line, but this one's going to be called back.
He's going to be called back. The flag was thrown in the defensive backfield. Let's see the referee, Jim Sharp.
Big ball foul, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty.
Tough penalty. Again, getting back to 3rd down, Syracuse excellent all day in converting the 3rd down plays, keeping drives alive.
6 out of 7 back, 3rd down. There's Dick McPherson. He's going to town in that program, curling it around. You were a tough guy when you were coaching at Connecticut and Princeton. Tough guy in those programs. Rip him up.
Yeah, not in programs, other things.
I just hope you read the ad.
Official.
Shar to throw in 3rd and 10.
Too much time.
Looking downfield. He's got Owens, but also Rutgers, and Owens caught the ball and stepped out at the 40-yard line.
No.
But did he step out before?
He said he caught the ball out of bounds. That's what he's going to say. Great field position there. Number 37 for Rutgers had him all the way down the field. That's Celez, the strong safety, and he was with Owens, picking him up coming out of the backfield. But it's a great effort by Owens. Watch this. He's running his tailback up the sideline. Here comes 37 Celez. And Celez is right there with him. And here's the play. And watch him take the ball away and see his right foot on the line. I beg your pardon. I had Celez. That was Marshall Roberts, the cornerback, who had him in coverage.
So good defensive series, aided by the penalty by Syracuse that time. 4th down and 10. Hawkins on for his second punt of the game, and Marshall Roberts back to receive.
10 men on the line of scrimmage. They drop off 3. Got a return on.
Into the wind. Get beaten down near midfield. Roberts on his way. 1 minute and down to the 31-yard line. Hawkins, the punter, has to make the stop, but great field position for Rutgers to start the second half.
Great return, good blocking on the outside. And Roberts almost had this thing all the way, and Hawkins made the tackle. But you're right, they've got good field position. Watch the blocking set up here. He's kicking into the wind, remember. The coverage is right there. There's a block on 51, the center. He gets outside beyond D's number 86, the tight end, and there is the last man for him. He's got the ball back on the 30-yard line, and a great opportunity for Rutgers. Wind at their back. Let's see what they can do.
28-yard punt, a 22-yard return. Here's Ernie, Syracuse territory. Scrambling, firing a pass complete to McQueen at the 16. McQueen brought down by Thompson, Whiteman, and Walker. It's going to be a nice gain on the play of 14 yards.
The ability to Ernie to get outside on the roll, that time created a problem for the Syracuse defense, because once he's on the corner, he can come upfield and deliver the ball. McQueen came back to make the catch. Big play. They've got to try and contain him, but he does that so effectively. Puts a lot of pressure. The reason it's hard to contain him, he's got the field spread. He's got receivers out there.
McQueen came in as a leading receiver. 26 passes from Ernie coming into the ballgame. That's his first reception of the day. Here's the draw to Body. He's in for a touchdown. Mike Body from 16 yards out, and a dramatic change of affairs.
They're going for 2. They're going to go for 2 here. Very important.
It's 21-12.
This is what Rutgers needed to get back in the ballgame. Dick McPherson knows he didn't want that to happen that soon.
Mike Body scores. That's his 4th touchdown thus far this season. All of them have been on the ground.
Gets this homecoming crowd back into the ball game. They haven't been in it at all up to this point.
Mike Body.
Give him a lot of credit. He's playing hurt. We know he's got a leg problem. He's been hurting the last couple of weeks.
Only his 2nd carry of the afternoon. Of course, Rutgers going for 2. This will pull them within 7 if they're successful. 3 wide receivers to the top. Make it 4 now. Going that side is Ernie. Chased by Bavaro. Comes across. It's complete. The Body in the end zone. Rutgers is within 7. Just a minute and a half into the second half.
Okay, as you look at Mike Body, and he's done it all right here. The setup, they got 3 receivers to the left side of the screen. They run a little counter draw action. They trap, actually, and they got Body, and they trap the big tackle Rooks that time, and he gets into the end zone clean. Beautifully executed by the offensive line.
Change the complexion of the ball game as Rutgers pulls it within a touchdown.
The feeling is calming, comfortable. There's some inner sense of satisfaction. It's like holding a well-made, perfectly balanced tool. The joy is feeling connected to it. That's the idea. That's the sense of it. That's what it feels like to drive one. Infinity.
You're looking sharp, you're looking good. You've come so far, and we know how to make the most of who you are. Where the race is run, you're the champion. Gillette,
the Gillette Atra Plus system and Gillette Foamy Shave Cream, together the best a man can get.
An automotive designer looks at the shapes of nature, the soft lines, and because he sees things a certain way, those lines suggest an automobile design that is honest and natural. or where the driver is more important than the car itself. And what is discovered, just watching nature, is an ancient Japanese notion of what is beautiful. It's called infinity.
Let's look at it again. Mike Body on the draw.
Counter action as he comes back here. Good block downfield for him by number 76, Hyros, and he makes the block into the end zone, and that's the score. And that got him back, and he's excited. He's a senior. He wants this one badly. And here's the two-point try. Watch number 31 slip into the flat here. Pressure by Busey and Bavaro, and he just puts it up, and Body had flipped off, gotten open, and to Scott Ernie's credit, he found him, and Rutgers is back in this football game. Now it's a question of what their defense can do against the Syracuse offense.
The run by Body, the longest touchdown run by Rutgers thus far this season, but it's their 9th rushing touchdown as opposed to 6 TD passes. So while there's an imbalance in yardage, certainly not in scoring. Giesler with the kick. Ishmael at the 6.
Short kick.
He's up. They get sandwiched at the 21-yard line. Big play there and a nice tackle made on the play by Eric Gearing and Glenn Miller.
And you can see it changing, and you often see the attitude of a team in the special teams, how they cover punt, how they tackle. And you can see the Rutgers special teams are up for this one. Now the test is on their defense, as we said.
Dick Anderson.
He's talking to his offensive coaches upstairs right now, because that's the offensive phone he's on right now.
1st and 10, Syracuse sitting at their own 22-yard line. Up 21-14. Shaw to the fullback, Kinnan. Kinnan sprints outside but can't get loose. And Rutgers answers the bell defensively in the second half. Sellers was the first man to make the stop. Fullback game that had worked so well the first half, not only rushing up through, but getting him loose in the secondary for screen passes. 2nd down and 10, and this reverts to an old problem Syracuse had complained to before, and that is not getting enough on first. Out of the eye, play action. There's the option toss to Owens, and Owens is trapped. Tim Lester making a great individual play to slow him down while everybody caught up.
But the play was really strung out. What makes that most effective is when the quarterback keeps the ball, and as he strings it out, everybody can react to the football. Watch this. Shar comes down, a fake to the fullback. That is the freeze option. That's the first step. And there's a good job by 99 Miller on the quarterback, which permits 98 Lester to come up and take the trail of the pitch man. And it was perfectly executed. 3rd down, 8 yards for Syracuse. Again, Billy Shaw in a critical situation early here in the 3rd period.
6 for 8 now on 3rd down conversion. He's back to throw. That time. Looking deep for Moore. Double coverage. Moore comes back, gets the ball. Complete at the 35 of Rutgers.
And that's the ability of Rob Moore. That ball was underthrown into the wind. Rutgers defenders never look back and caught the ball. This kid does it all the time, and that's the difference, the big play. When you isolate on him and watch him at the top of the screen, he's going against Marshall Roberts. And right away, he's being picked up by 37. That's Sellers. So he's being double-teamed, and there he goes. But he sees the football. Sellers never controls it. He's so conscious of his speed going deep. He comes back, makes the play, and that's what's kept Syracuse close with a lot of people. And that's Rob Moore.
41 yards downfield, and that catch by Moore has already got a touchdown catch of 6 yards. On the option, Shaw to Owens. Owens, 30, driven out of bounds. They'll knock him out at about the 27-yard line, and it's going to be a gain of close to 8.
What a great job of blocking downfield. Again, Rob Moore, 14, the wide receiver, blocking on the cornerback, who's responsible for coming up and making that tackle. But he kept them off the line of scrimmage and gave Owens a chance to make good yardage. And right away it turns around. But the big play is what's done it. And Rob Moore is the big play guy for Syracuse.
11:23 left to go in the 3rd. Syracuse 21-14, and they're moving the football. They're looking at 2nd and 2 at the 27. In Rutgers territory. Passing set, but it's going to be the handoff to Owens. Owens trying to get the first down and does not have it. Making a great stop to the sideline is Williams.
Williams, the sophomore, one of the most highly recruited players Rutgers has had in recent years from down in Burlington, New Jersey, number 92, very quick. Watch him. And he's going to come up here and make a good open field tackle right there to keep this thing to a loss. Big play there by Sean Williams, only a sophomore.
There you see him. Nice play by Williams, who held his spot at home against Michael Owens. Third down, about 2. Here is Owens. This time he's got the first down. He's over the 25-yard line down to about the 24. Yudovich is in on the stop as well as Sellis. Big first down for Syracuse as they keep moving. Dick Anderson wonders. The big play got him again.
Big first down because they're moving behind a big, experienced offensive line as Dick McPherson talks to his associate head coach there, Billy Maxwell. Been with him for many years together in Massachusetts. They go back many, many years.
First and 10 at the 23 of Rutgers. And off Owens. Owens, the halfback being featured here in the second half. He jumps to the 19. It's a gain of 4. Brought down by Webster. Elnardo Webster on the tackle as you look at Michael Owens. Coming in here, represented 75% of their ground game.
You can see the tempo picking up. Even though Syracuse is moving the ball, Rutgers defensively is playing tougher and quicker and making bigger hits. And they got to do that to stay in the game and try and get a break.
Second and 6 at the 19. Shaw gets to the fullback Kinnan. First carry of the second half. He falls ahead. Short of the first down. They may mark his forward progress to the 15-yard line. Webster in on the stop with Yudovich. Also the young man Williams, Sean Williams, coming up with a play as well. 91, 92, and 93 as you look at Dwayne Kinnan.
When they moved him to fullback, they thought that was the best move they made this year. They felt they finally found a big back with running ability and pass catching ability. He hasn't been utilized, but today they've given him the football and he's done the job.
Gain of 4, third and 2 from the 15. Both ends in tight. Full house backfield. Shaw gives to Owens. Owens, first down. Down to the 10.
That's what you love. You come up 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 in the 4-down zone. You're in a controlling situation where they did at that time. They've just been doing a great job now in this last 2 series, getting themselves in good 3rd down situations. Michael Owens, the explosive guy, came into this game averaging about 4.7 yards per carry, 4 TDs.
Syracuse with 3 down edge and first down. Looking at first and 10 from just outside the 10. Kinnan with the ball, straight ahead, wrestled down by Bob Spidell at the 8-yard line. Gain of close to 3. They still can get a first down inside the 1. Syracuse started it off with Carpenter snaring a 41-yard pass from Bill Shaw. Less than a minute to go in the first. Then Rob Moore took in a 6-yard pass from Shaw midway through the second. The 2-point conversion pass to Moore was good. Easler hit a 50-yard field goal for Rutgers as Dick McPherson looks on. Then Syracuse got another touchdown from Owens, 1 yard out. 3 2-wide receivers to the top side on second down and about 7.
Option.
Shaw to Owens. Owens driven out of bounds. They'll mark him out at the 3. And on the play of 4 yards.
Spread the field. They put their wide receivers to the wide side of the field. They run the option back away from it, knowing that Rutgers is going to overplay themselves to the wide side of the field. Watch it from the low angle here. The drive to the fullback, fake to Kinnan. Now he comes down the line, puts it right on the corner, and there's the play. And he gets up inside, gets enough yardage. And again, they're looking at 3rd down and 2 with the ball inside the 5-yard line.
Get a first down inside the 1. You look at Michael Owens. Carpenter's to the top of your screen. Moore to the bottom. Gedney, the tight end, lines up over there strong to the left. Looking right is Shaw into the sun, complete to Kinnan. Kinnan, they say he got in. He's in for a touchdown. Just inside the goal line.
Last time they came down, they threw to the 14 Moore, the split end coming in on a slant pattern. They ran the same pattern, but they slipped the fullback out behind him and dumped it off to him, forcing a linebacker to try and come up and make the hit. Beautiful drive by Syracuse. Bill Shaw again, good execution. Big play by Rob Moore.
McDonald in to hold as Shaw gets a congratulatory message from Dick McPherson. And not only is Bill Maxwell associate head coach, but he's especially in charge of the quarterbacks. He's got to be happy with things as John Biscup comes in to kick. There's the kick. It is up, and it is good. 7:51 left in the third, and let's see Dwayne Kinnan stretch for the end zone.
There he is, 43, catches the ball. There comes Spidell, the linebacker, trying to catch him, get up to him, but watch him stretch out. That's close. Looks to me like he just got in there.
Just barely did. 28-14. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Gilded coach. The concept of luxury in a luxury car has suggested costly indulgence and material abundance. But in Japan, centuries ago and today still, where true luxury is a spare, natural idea, and beauty, a close personal experience, there is a different concept of luxury. Infinity.
This is the shop of Samsat Bazaar, a thriving establishment on the outskirts of Bangkok. Unlike other international executives, he has no phone system, no computers, not even a fax machine. He does, however, enjoy one modern and efficient service nearly 4 billion people in 175 countries today can take for granted. UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
You know, it's not just a car, it's an expression of the culture, an aesthetic that is connected somehow to nature. A way of saying, this is what we can do if we work at the highest level of our ability and at our full potential. That's the level of the commitment behind a new line of luxury cars from Japan. Infinity.
Zone. Again, looking from the end zone as Bill Shaw finds Dwayne Kinnan, and this is close.
He drops it off to him right there in the corner. He slipped out. The linebacker, Spidell, responsible for him, comes in late. It looks like his right foot might have hit the line, but he stretched across the end zone beforehand and got the touchdown. Great effort on the part of the big fullback, Dwayne Kinnan, from Brooklyn, New York. There it is, 12 plays. They traveled 78 yards, and they did it very effectively with the big the big pass play to Rob Moore. They got a score, and they're ahead by 2 touchdowns, 28-14.
Third touchdown pass of the day for Shaw. Biscup to kick. Allen looping under it at the 12. Up to the 20. And gets wrestled down out and around the 45-yard line, 35-yard line, rather. And it's a tackle made on the play by Casey Sirowich. As Scott Ernie gets set to come back out onto the football field. It's a nice return of about 23 yards. So, Scott Ernie has the wind at his back, and Allen comes off the field rather gingerly. He's been banged around a lot this end. Made a big tackle on the far sidelines in the first half. He paid a price on it. Sun starting to come out, and that ends on to your right. Ernie to pass out of that sun. To the flats, it is incomplete to Mike Body.
Good coverage that time. Coming over to cover Body was number 90, Terry Wooden, the linebacker. He was right there. Body was looking back into that sun to try and catch the ball. There he is.
17 and a half sacks and 6 interceptions. And that is a great illustration of how they use Terry Wooden.
No huddle.
Ernie comes out. Second down and 10. On the 36, and they get a flag.
And that was Ernie's fault that time. He backed away before the snap. He was so anxious. They tried to surprise him with no huddle, came up with 3 receivers to one side, and he blew it.
That has quieted the crowd. The touchdown by Kinnan took the crowd
Good ball foul. Illegal procedure. Offense. It's still second down. It is second down.
Packed house here at Rutgers. 32,000 estimated. This stadium holds about 30,000. We've got overflow all over the place, bringing the outside of the stadium to see this game.
At the half, Illinois 7-0.
Second down and 15. Ball back at the 31-yard line. Ernie, sprint out left. Going back to the right. As Jackson downfield. It is incomplete, out of bounds. Great coverage on the play.
He threw back to Jackson. He sprinted to his left and threw back to Jackson, the speedster, up the right side. Watch this. We pick up here. The key guy, number 26, is Barry, who comes into the middle. Here's the play back to Jackson as he's running up the sideline. There's 26 Barry in good field position, gets his hands up, and almost comes away with the interception.
Boy, Jackson had to pick it right out of there. Ousmane Barry, freshman out of Montreal. Same hometown as Tommy Kane, great wide receiver who played here a couple of years ago at Syracuse. Originally from the French West Indies. Third down. Looks like encroachment by Syracuse.
Instead of going on the movement of the ball, he went on the sound. The quarterback raised his voice and got him offside. So it goes against the defense. He gets the 5 yards back, but again,
Rutgers foul. Defense, contact, 5-yard penalty.
Now they're looking at third down again. It's third and long, though.
Third and 10 instead of third and 15. Moves the ball out to the 36-yard line. May not change the call any for Scott Ernie. See his performance on the afternoon. Picked off once. 3 wide receivers to the bottom side of the formation. Back to throw. Big rush on. Ernie scrambling. Goes behind the formation to Jackson. He made the catch.
Out of bounds.
He did not have control of it before he went out.
That was not the primary receiver. He was looking upfield here to try and get number 5, Tyrone McQueen. He was covered. He finally found Jackson on the opposite side of the field to throw back. Made the catch. Great catch. But his impetus took him out of bounds, and Rutgers here forced a kick. And again, 7:25 on the clock, and the wind at their back. They did not capitalize on it. They've got to punt the ball back to Syracuse.
Saw the concern of Dick McPherson. Ernie, very dangerous when he has to get out there and ad lib. Pellegrini with a kick, short kick. Walker taking it at the 30, and immediately he is brought down. Nice tackle made on the play. Pat Udovich was in as well as Chris Piquel on the special team coverage as Walker heads to the sidelines. They start to find some places in the bushes to sit and watch this one. It's 28-14, 7:18 left to go in the third quarter here at Rutgers, Syracuse.
People use all kinds of sophisticated machines to raise their heart rate. We'd like to recommend another one. The pulse-quickening technology of Ford Probe. It'll get your motor running.
See your dealer now for low financing or special savings on 1990 Ford Probe.
This should give you some idea of the difference between beer and Genesee Cream Ale. Smooth Genesee Cream Ale. It's not the same old brewski.
This half of Great American Independent Football is brought to you in part by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Let's watch this almost catch.
Yeah, as he throws back and he finds Randy Jackson. Here's the catch, but look at him. He does not have control as he goes out of bounds.
Official attendance here this afternoon, we're told now 29,276. They're going to come up shy as far as the record crowd is concerned. Shaw, first and 10. Pumps twice, pulls out of the pocket, now has to pull out for his own life here. The 35, brought down by Spidell at the 36-yard line. It'll be a gain on the play of 6 yards for Bill Shaw.
Excellent move by Shaw. He was looking to go quickly to the outside of his wide receivers. It wasn't there. He brought the ball down. He had a lot of pressure on him, but he scrambled. He's not the most gifted runner, but he got 6 yards in the play. He'll take that anytime.
He has not made many mistakes this afternoon. He's done a very nice ball game. The only one that really you can look at was that mistake inside the 5-yard line when he threw the ball into a fumble situation as he tried to automatic at the line of scrimmage. Otherwise, Bill Shaw has been outstanding. 3 wide receivers to the top side on 2nd and 4. Flat pass out there to Carpenter. Complete. Leaps over a man for the first down and is brought down at the 46-yard line.
That's called a quick screen or a flip screen. They just motion the back out. That time it was number 44, Owens, to create three receivers, and they drop the wide receiver in the slot, Carpenter back. They get the ball to him. The other two guys release. With that kind of speed, Carpenter has it. Got good yardage and a first down.
Carpenter saw his numbers on today. He's thrown a touchdown pass thus far this season. And he caught one earlier. You split wide to the bottom of your screen on 1st and 10. Syracuse. Shaw hands off to Owens. Owens slices through, goes down in the grasp of Tim Lester, out over the 50-yard line to the 45 of Rutgers, and it's going to be a nice gain of about 7 yards. Next week, we go to Boston and see Boston College taking on West Virginia. High noon on most of these stations. Contrast of quarterbacks in terms of experience, but Major Harris might see a clone of himself in Willie Hicks. Willie brings a spontaneity to the Boston College offense that I know Jack McNair likes to see. You look at Michael Owens and his report card of the day. And off goes straight ahead to Dwayne Kinnan, who's working his way close to the first down. Spidell on the stop again. Also in on the play is going to be Webster.
Now Syracuse back into the rhythm, they've got their offense going, running the football, tailback, fullback, throwing the football. Their wide receivers, they've got a lot of balance. Bill Shaw gave a lot of confidence today, and he's running that team, and he's looking, he's really doing the job that everybody expects him.
This is a comparison of Kinnan today as opposed to what he's done up to this point. You can see that's the type of offensive production they like out of their fullback at Syracuse. They're up 21, 28 to 14. Here's Shaw to throw long, looking for Carpenter in single coverage. He's got him! Touchdown, Syracuse! 42-yard touchdown catch. His second of the day for Rob Carpenter, and the Orangemen lead by 20.
He had two people there. He had the cornerback, Mays, and he had the safety, Vaughn McCoy. He split them both. McCoy should have been deeper than the receiver. He never did. The ball was thrown and stretched him out. He made a sensational catch to get the touchdown. Absolutely perfect execution on the part of the quarterback, Shaw, and the receiver, Carpenter, and that's what they've got. They've got Moore and Carpenter. You forget about Carpenter, but he's outstanding, good speed. Came in this ballgame averaging over 12 yards per catch.
Got 7 catches thus far and 2 touchdowns this afternoon. It's Biscuit.
We interrupt our regular program schedule to bring you a special report from ABC News. Here is Forrest Sawyer.
Good afternoon. As workers continue to search through the rubble of that earthquake that happened last Tuesday in San Francisco, there has always been the hope of a small miracle. That hope has been diminishing over the days, but now it has been renewed. A man has been found in the debris of Interstate 880, the Nimitz Freeway, a section of roadway in Oakland where the top deck collapsed down onto the bottom. It was believed that everybody was dead. A man has been found, and he has been taken to the hospital. For more details, Gary Shepard is at our affiliate KGO. Gary, can you tell us how this all occurred?
Well, Forrest, early this morning, a Caltrans engineer, Caltrans being the California Department of Transportation, an engineer who was inspecting the collapsed highway thought he saw what appeared to be some sort of movement in the debris. And this is between the two levels of highway that had collapsed and caused this, what was known as a concrete sandwich. The man was in a vehicle. Later this morning, in fact, perhaps less than an hour ago, rescue workers were finally able to determine that, yes, there was a man alive, a survivor of this collapse. It took 16 people quite a while to extricate him from the vehicle, and he is now en route to the hospital. He is said to be in semi-conscious condition, but has been stabilized, and at one point he apparently raised his arms and waved to the rescue workers to indicate that he was alive.
The man is identified, Gary, as Buck Helms. He is 57 years old, and I have a sense that in some fashion, some very lucky fashion for him, a kind of cavern must have been formed in that pancake of concrete, that 500-ton section that was sitting on those cars, to allow him to have enough space and enough air to continue living all of these days.
Oakland's coordinator of emergency services told us this morning that what apparently happened was some sort of an aftershock from the earthquake occurred early this morning, and it opened up a space which rescue crews had not been able to see prior to that. And when the space opened, they were able to get a look inside that area where the man and the car were trapped.
Now in stable condition, but it certainly raises the question, Gary, of whether there might just possibly be other survivors there in the Nimitz Freeway. I assume that they are stepping up their efforts.
Forrest, authorities just announced this morning that they had made 5 complete sweeps of the collapsed section, more than a mile of freeway, to try to determine if there were any survivors. They are now engaging in a 6th sweep that will cover the entire section of roadway once more in case someone else is still alive.
Thank you, Gary Shepard. They're at our affiliate KGO, where they did conduct an interview with an eyewitness who actually saw the rescue as it took place. Let's listen to a portion of that.
What was he when he got out? He was moving around when he got out, and the first thing he said was, "Thank God, I'm alive."
How long did it take to extricate him?
It took about 25 minutes to get him out.
Was he talking during that time?
Talking. Surprisingly, he was moving his arms around. It doesn't appear that his arms are broken, although his legs were motionless. So we don't know right now how much physical damage he has, but he is alive.
And how did he look to you when he came out?
Dehydrated. That's about all I can tell from. I'm not a medical expert, so that's all I can tell.
Can you describe how frantic the activity was as they were trying to extricate him?
They were pulling this man out. You could drop a pin with total silence. Everybody was very professional. They got the man out as quickly as possible, and when he came out, you should have heard those cheers.
How does that make you feel now? You've been working at this for a long time, haven't you?
We've always kept hope. When the president came, that really lifted our spirits, and I believe that motivated some men to go up there and give it one more try.
Now I guess they're gonna really try to go at it now, right?
Especially me, and I'm gonna go back there right now.
Okay, now it's pretty.
That was an eyewitness who was being interviewed by affiliate KGO. He watched the rescue actually take place. In fairness, it must be said that as these workers have worked long shifts, 12-hour shifts, some of them even longer, hope has been diminishing. About Thursday and certainly by Friday, it appeared that there would be nobody left alive inside the rubble of that double-decker Interstate 880, but now there is one person who has been found alive. 34 bodies have been pulled out. The man, as I say, is identified as Buck Helms, 57-year-old. Greg Dobbs is at the location. What's going on there now, Greg?
Go, Greg.
I've just gotten to the telephone, and I don't know all that you've heard for us, but I can tell you how exciting it was as the man was being pulled out, because from about 2 blocks away, one could see a large slab of something, I assume it was concrete or steel, perhaps part of the man's automobile, lifted by crane, and then the dozen or so rescue recovery workers standing atop the deck applauded. They looked down and applauded, and everybody from the vantage point about 2 blocks away knew something good was going on, and just 3 or 4 minutes later, an ambulance went by. You could see a paramedic inside doing something to the victim, but the victim is, in this particular case, alive. Not very well, but alive, and that is the surprise here, because in the last 24 hours, nobody's been speaking with optimism anymore about finding survivors. They've reclassified this not as a rescue, but as a recovery operation. For 3.5 days that man was down there, perhaps saved, and I don't know if you've heard about the structure of that upper deck that fell upon him, perhaps saved by the honeycombing in that pancaked freeway, because while there were 14 inches of concrete and steel comprising that upper deck, the bottom of the upper deck, if you can try to get a picture in your mind's eye, was honeycombed. And if a steel beam itself had fallen on him, then I venture to say he would not have survived. But evidently, one of the empty honeycomb chambers came down atop him. He had sufficient air and obviously insufficient injuries to kill him.
Well, let's also clarify his condition at this point. Again, Buck Helms, 57 years old. He is not particularly communicating, although one eyewitness said that just as he was pulled out, he looked up and said, "Thank God, I'm alive." He was able to move his arms. We are not certain about his legs. He appeared to be at least semi-conscious. Now, he has been taken to Highland Hospital. He is from Weaverville, California, we are told, and his wife right now is being flown to that hospital, and you can imagine the feelings that are coursing through her as she moves toward her husband, who is alive and in stable condition. Greg, the search going on there at I-880 for other survivors, how is it faring at this point?
Well, right now, the search is going to have to resume for any others because they threw all their eggs into that one basket. They evidently moved their cranes, they moved their best workers, they moved what they call their concrete nibbler, which stuffs up the concrete that had buried many vehicles. They have moved everything to that one site because, lo and behold, they had the possibility of a survivor. Now they're going to have to resume the search for the other vehicles, of course, and I suppose they do it with a new air of urgency because they had given up hope, and now this survivor has proved they shouldn't have.
Greg Dobbs, who was there at Interstate 880, the Nimitz Freeway in Oakland. As I began this report, I told you that when the workers are searching through the rubble, they are also sorting through, looking for miracles. And it appears that they have actually found a miracle in this case, a man who was trapped inside his car there as that top deck of Interstate 80 collapsed down onto the bottom deck, each of those sections of concrete weighing 500 tons. But as luck would have it, it collapsed in a kind of honeycombed way, so that left caverns, that left pockets of air. One case, a critically important pocket of air that surrounded the car. This shows you how it collapsed. You see those sections there, each one of them weighing 500 tons. And it was the old style, the style of roadway that was built before they were prepared for earthquakes, that had the concrete going up in a spiral that would have supported it. So when the earthquake struck, those pillars dropped, snapping like firecrackers, and putting the sections of concrete down, pancaking down onto the automobiles. The ambulance rushing Buck Helms, actually, as they pulled him out only a few minutes ago toward Highland Hospital. There you see as he's driving off, and you hear people applauding in the background, thrilled that they have had their efforts through all of these long days and long nights met by the life of one man, 57-year-old Buck Helms, who, as I tell you, is in stable condition. As, of course, we learn more, we will pass that information along to you. But for now, in Washington, I'm Forrest Sawyer for ABC News.
This special report has come to you from ABC News. We now resume our regular program schedule.
For short yardage, and he does not get the first down. DeRicci stops him in his tracks at the 37-yard line.
They've run that play a lot successfully, but now Syracuse is starting to look for it.
2:37 left to go in the third quarter. We're here at Rutgers Stadium. Syracuse leading Rutgers 35-14, but the Scarlet Knights are moving. Have the ball, third down and 2 at the Syracuse 39-yard line. To his left, sets up, fires to Can, complete. Got the first down at the 33-yard line.
Controlled passing game. That time he went to the short receiver, wanted to get him the football right away, give him a chance to get upfield, and Jimmy Can did exactly that and kept the drive alive, got the first down.
The Rutgers drive started at the 30, by the way.
If you could criticize Rutgers today, it looks like they're trying to go a little too deep at times with their passing game. It's better for them to almost use the short passing game to control the football.
Sprinting right this time. Here's Ernie trying to get away from pressure. LeBaron chasing him down. He throws it. It is incomplete. Downfield intended for Can, but boy, LeBaron and Burnett were all over Scott Ernie.
Brian LeBaron comes in the passing situation. He's a good defender. That time he switched up and he's got the speed on the corner. Watch this, number 40, and watch Ernie beating pressure. 55, Busey, the linebacker, and LeBaron coming from his outside linebacker position. And that's the way it's been all day for Scott Ernie.
He has been scrambling all day. He's been looking a lot at Burnett, Rob Burnett. Number 70 jersey all afternoon. Giles is into the backfield now for Rutgers in place of Mike Body as Scott Ernie brings the Scarlet Knights up to the line. 2nd and 10. Back to throw. Over the middle, it is incomplete and intended for Chris Roberts out of Abington, Pennsylvania.
That's a tough one for him. That was there. If he catches the ball, he's going to get upfield, make good yardage. They clear out 3 wide receivers and watch 26 Roberts come around, just sort of curl inside. It's a control pass, get it to him in front of the linebackers, try and get 5 or 6 yards. He wanted to run before he caught it. He was just substituting the game for that play, and he's staying in right now.
Minute 45 left to go in the third. Syracuse 35-14 over Rutgers. Rutgers with the ball, trying to keep things going at the Syracuse 33. Third down. Here's the pass. Complete again. to Roberts. Roberts this time goes ahead, and he's close to the first down. Making the stop is Bavaro.
And that's why he's in the ball game. He's got great speed, Roberts. They got him the ball, and they forced the linebacker to try and cover him. Bavaro did a great job of making the play from behind because he was on for even a bigger gain. Here he comes. He slips right out to the flat. There he is, 26 to the left of the screen. Catches the ball. Bavaro from the backside trying to catch up to him. Makes the hit, but not before Rutgers got another first down.
Roberts making the 11-yard gain. Second pass thrown in his direction. First and 10 at the 23. Ernie to the flats to Can, complete at the 19. Rob Thompson in on the play for Syracuse.
Three receivers to one side. That time Can out of the backfield, flanked out there. Free safety comes up to make the hit.
But because Rutgers is not effective in the ground game, they have to go to the controlled passing attack to get what they normally would.
They're doing a lot considering the fact that they're almost saying to you, we're going to throw on every down. We're behind by 3 touchdowns, and that's what we're doing offensively all season.
Second and 8 from the 20. Final minute of the third. Ernie scrambling. Ernie inside the 10-yard line. He's got another first down. DeRicci is there to make the stop. Also scrambling back, David Bavaro. But Scott Ernie is now the leading rusher in this ballgame.
3 receivers to the top of the screen. They're just driving off zone coverage right here. And man coverage. Everybody's got a man. But as they come off, Ernie just sees that and almost figured on running the football, knowing what he's going to get for a rush, a 4-man rush. He gets credit to Scott Ernie. It hasn't been a great day for him, but without him, they're never in the ball game. That time he carried it, made good yardage, got the first down.
Right now, they're knocking on the door inside the 10-yard line. 31 seconds remaining in the third. Draw play, body, and Syracuse has that snuffed out. A little counter, and George Rooks is there to bring him down.
It's the one that scored for him the last time they had possession down in here deep, but that time they closed it off.
Clock moving, 15 seconds left in the third quarter.
They're going to let this clock run out. They're going to let this clock run out before they run out of play.
And then they'll be with the wind at their face here in the fourth. 1 second left, and the period ends. So the third quarter has come to a close, and Syracuse strong still, leading 35-14. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Time to make the donuts. Don't be a chump. Get a decent night's sleep for once. But all the nice folks will want fresh Dunkin' Donuts.
It takes a lot of willpower to make Dunkin' Donuts fresh day and night.
But we think it's worth it. But we think it's worth it.
And you'll think it's worth it. Now at Dunkin' Donuts, get the big one coffee. Or get a bigger one. Take away our famous fresh brewed coffee in our 14-ounce travel mug or our new 30-ounce thermos.
The Jeep Cherokee 4x4. Now, to make it more like S10 Blazer and Bronco 2, we'll have to make some slight modifications. We'll remove 2 of our 4 doors, eliminate 1 of our passenger seats, drain the power out of Cherokee's engine, and we'll drop our full-time 4-wheel drive. Now Cherokees are produced at the same level as Ford and Chevy. But why would you want that when you can get all this?
See your Tri-State Jeep Eagle dealer, where you can always expect the best.
Let's talk about communications today. What makes the telephone work? What makes it work?
Well, there's teeny tiny computers and wires, switchboards, sound waves.
Give me an answer, somebody.
Satellite. Press the button or dial the dial.
Okay, Billy. Tell me now, what makes the telephone work?
My father.
Yes, it's still Billy's father and the thousands of other people of Bell Atlantic that make the telephone work.
Once upon a time, there was a guy named Goldilocks who was thirsting for refreshment. But this one, and this one. So then he moved to Diet Coke, and it was just right. The real cola taste you can drink more of because it's just 1 calorie.
Hey, somebody's been drinking our Diet Coke. Yeah. And there he is. Hey, it's the 3 Bears. What's up? Yeah, my taste of it. Diet Coke.
Welcome back to Rutgers Stadium at Piscataway, New Jersey. Steve Martin here along with Bob Casciola. Ahead of you, you look at the game stats. Syracuse leading 35-14, and one good reason why is total offense and time of possession.
Sure does. Jumps right out at you, and they've been doing it on the ground and also picking up in that last drive, 279 yards passing.
Syracuse came in here averaging 360 yards total offense. Right now, Rutgers second and goal from the 11. Ernie rolls to the wide side. LeBaron forces him in. He makes the catch. He gave it to Tyrone McQueen at the 8.
He gave it to him. He came back to the football, and he made a great catch. He was really being harassed back there by the quarterback, Greg Walker, and undercover by number 55, Busey, the linebacker. He made the catch, short gain, stop. Second down and 9. The ball sitting on the 9-yard line. They got to go 9 yards to get the first down and the touchdown.
Trailing here by 21, 35-14. Rutgers started this drive on their own 30-yard line. Queen is the slot to the top side. No backs in the backfield. 5 men wide. Here comes Ernie. Ernie scrambling. Gets rid of it just as he got drilled by Brian LeBaron.
They came after him. They were right up in his face. LeBaron and also Burnett. They could not control Rob Burnett, the defensive tackle, and Scott Ernie never had a chance to get this pass off. Watch this as he rolls to his left. No backs in the backfield. 3 receivers to the left side. There's number 40. There's number 70 from the backside. Inside pressure. What a job. Great job defensively. They're just coming after him. They feel confident enough with their defensive backs to play man for man. Now here we go. It's 4th down and 9. Dickie Anderson has decided he's got to go for a touchdown. He's not going to go for 3. Here it is.
14:49 left to go in the football game. Syracuse 35-14. Rutgers 4th and goal at the 9. One back for protection this time. Going over the middle. It is complete. Touchdown to Gary Melton. Gary Melton on 4th and 9.
Big play and a great job of protecting for Scott Ernie that time. Instead of sprinting him where they've gotten a lot of pressure in his face, they decided to drop him back, and they let Melton come underneath, man coverage, running underneath. He had good position on the defender. Scott Ernie put the ball there, and this time Melton held it, got in the end zone.
9-yard pass play at the 14:45 mark. Kiesler is on to kick the extra point. Pulls Rutgers now to within 15. Out of the hold of Giantano. Here's the kick. Gets up. It's shanked off to the side. No good. Wide to the left side. So the extra point by Kiesler is missed. So far this season, that's his 3rd miss of the year. Let's take a look at the pass by Ernie again.
Watch this. He's going to drop right back from us, and you're going to see from the right side of the screen, number 15 come across Melton. Good protection up front, giving Ernie a chance. As he drops back here, Melton comes right across the middle. He's got position on the defender. That's number 22, Whiteman, the cornerback, for the score.
Some temporary joy here for Rutgers as they chip away at the Syracuse lead.
When the engine revs, you can feel it in your chest. Power. The sound of it is like a drum. Yet when you're in the car, the sound is silence. All you feel is powerful and safe. Infinity.
There's a special breed of people who do battle day after day. Their arena, the business world. Their territory, the road. They are the Road Warriors.
Ray?
Ray Camp.
Dave! On the road again, huh? 3 cities this week. He's Mary Hansen, sales director for Landmark.
Hi.
And Howard Johnson is the place the Road Warrior chooses when he gets ready for the road. Again and again. Howard Johnson, home of the Road Warriors.
It's important to Infinity to build fast cars, but it's more important to build perfectly balanced cars. This harmony of balance comes from thinking about the effective speed on such other luxury attributes as comfort and style. Infinity cars are primarily driver's cars, and the luxury experience is one that you most enjoy while you're in the car and moving. Infinity.
There's Gary Melton, latest man to cross into the end zone for the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. They marched 18 plays from their own 30 Took him 5:13 to do it, and Scott Ernie found his man, his first touchdown pass of the day. Gary Melton, intended receiver. He pulled it through. That's his first touchdown of the season, as a matter of fact. And Rutgers now is within 15 with plenty of time left. 20-35. Syracuse out on top. Giesler to kick. Giesler's line shot is recovered at the 31-yard line by LeBaron. Well, that's not LeBaron. Moving ahead, that is going to be Kevin Green, your running back. He makes it out over the 40-yard line to the 42, so the attempt at making Syracuse handle the ball did not succeed.
Did not succeed. They did not get the punt to bounce and get deep enough, and now Syracuse is looking at great field position, 1st and 10 on their own 42-yard line.
Wind at Bill Schar's back. He's tied a school record for touchdown passes in a game with 4 today. He's only been incomplete 5 times. Something like 23 attempts. Schar gives to Owens. Straight ahead. He's close to midfield. Nice gain of about 8 yards. 6 yards, though. Rutgers has been a late team, and they're going to have to be a fourth-quarter team this afternoon. 56 points in the fourth quarter.
And that's hurt them because they've had to come back. They're usually behind, and they've got to really do wonders in the fourth period to win a game or get back in the game. They're going to have to do it today. It's not the way you want to do it if you can help it.
They were down 26-10 to Kentucky a week ago. Came back and lost 33-26. Second down and 5 at the 48. Shaw looking to his wideout once more, step for step. And it is incomplete, and a flag is going to be thrown on the play. I got a feeling this may be offensive passing.
I think that's exactly what the call is. The defender was there and slowed down to go back to the ball, and Moore bounced him as he went down. And he's looking to say, what else could I do? I was trying to get to the football also. But that's going to be the call. Here's Moore running deep. Here's the pass. It's underthrown again. And the defender in this case,
Marshall Roberts,
the cornerback, 22, slowed down to catch it, and they caught him for it. And Dick McPherson said, well,
McPherson hasn't had an awful lot to smile about in second.
Offense, 15 yards, loss of down.
That's the tough part of it, the loss of down. So once again, Bill Schar now is looking at the third down.
I was going to say, Dick McPherson hasn't had an awful lot to cheer about in the second halves of the last 3 ball games. His club has looked good in the first half. This afternoon, this penalty aside, his club has looked good all the way through. They lead 35-20. They're looking at a loss of down here and a penalty to boot. And of course, remember at the end of this game, the conclusion will be selecting a Schick Most Valuable Player from each team. Dick Anderson surveys the field from the Rutgers sideline. His team defensively looking at 3rd and 20. Ball set back on the Syracuse 33-yard line. That's going to be a blessing for the defense.
Rutgers defense really has not come up with a big play today. The turnover, the interception, the fumble. They need it desperately now.
Shaw, 3rd down and long. Has time. Steps up, goes incomplete to Gedney as tight end.
Good coverage in the secondary, excuse me, Steve. Good coverage deep. They had both Carpenter and Moore running deep. The cornerbacks gave him good support there, and he was forced to come to his tight end. He threw the ball a little bit behind Gedney.
Gedney stays out there on the punt coverage. Hawkins is back to kick.
We haven't seen much of Hawkins since early in the game. He's been third down execution of Syracuse. He's kept them in the drives. They haven't really had to punt the ball that much.
This is Hawkins' 3rd appearance of the afternoon. He's got the wind at his back this time. Rutgers with 10 men on the line. There's the kick. Oh, it's a nice one. Roberts swoops under it at the 26. Ball set up. Almost got mowed under by his own man out to the 39-yard line. So it's a 40-yard punt and a 14-yard return, and Rutgers sets up now 1st and 10. And they'll have the football out at the 38-yard line in their own territory. They look at Marshall Roberts.
You mentioned it. There's plenty of time left for Rutgers if they can get upfield and get a score here. There's over almost 14 minutes left here in the fourth period. They've got plenty of time. The only thing they've got to contend with is a little bit of a win. Let's see if it affects Ernie, who we know is going to put the ball on.
He's kind of forsaken anything on the ground here to get his team back in position. Going back to throw again. As a safety valve out there, pass intended for Jackson, and he was covered by Bari, Usman Bari. Nice coverage. As you look at Bari, the freshman out of Montreal. Scores from around the country. Duke out to a 22-3 lead on Maryland. They lead at 32-16 at College Park.
Here's the big one, Alabama. In the fourth period, moving away from Tennessee, 38-24.
And Illinois and Michigan State are tied at 7. Rutgers now looking at 2nd and 10. Pass to the flats to McQueen, incomplete. And over there to make sure it stayed that way was Sean Whiteman.
Whiteman was right there. The ball was up. That's the kind of play where a receiver can really get destroyed. You stretch him out that time. And two series here, 2 plays right here. Rutgers looking at 3rd and 10. North Carolina.
Georgia Tech that came back from a win over Clemson, and there's a big one in the 3rd quarter. Navy is leading Boston College 24-16.
Undoubtedly, the Eagles are having trouble stopping a wishbone. Army ahead of Lafayette, too. Army ahead 27-13 over Lafayette. Playing up at West Point.
David of the Service Academy Bones so far. Ernie steps up, fires an interception. Picked up by Rooks. Rooks at the 30-yard line. Dropped at the 29. First time he had one nearly go into his hands early in the first half. This time he held on and comes up with a big turnover.
Big play, good field position for Rutgers. They don't do anything with the field position. Scott Ernie just puts the ball up here, and the big guy, 91, the sophomore out of White Plains, New York. Watch number 91 on your screen. He drops off. See, he's looking for draw. He's got a responsibility. Instead, he finds himself in a great position to intercept the ball.
We now pause for a word from your local station.
To us at UPS, this is a custom car. Why, this beauty's been modified dozens of times. It has a fiberglass fuel-efficient front, a rapid opening foam-filled door, and a sunroof, all of which makes us more efficient, so we can deliver next-day air for up to half what other companies charge, and allow our drivers to be seen in one mean set of wheels. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Now at Dunkin' Donuts, get the big one coffee, or get a bigger one. Take away our famous fresh brewed coffee in our 14-ounce travel mug or our new 30-ounce thermos.
From the days of the gilded coach, the concept of luxury in a luxury car has suggested costly indulgence and material abundance. But in Japan, centuries ago and today still, where true luxury is a spare, natural idea, and beauty, a close personal experience, there is a different concept of luxury. Infinity.
Well, you were right about the game last night. Wonder what Joe's got to say about it now. Why don't you call him up and find out? To be a sport, use the phone. New York Telephone, part of the NYNEX family.
Channel 7, WABC-TV, New York.
Receiving technique. Let's see it here.
But in the scheme of every defense, people have different responsibilities. Here, 3rd and long, he was dropping, looking for a draw play. He may have had the responsibility if they ran the draw to tackle. Instead, he looked up, the ball was there, made the catch, and he got himself on television doing it. That's great.
It's his first interception. And the second interception of Scott Ernie this afternoon. Syracuse sets up at the Rutgers 29-yard line. 1st and 10. And this is Kinnan. Fullback rips a hole off right guard over the 25 down to the 22-yard line.
It's been a big day for Dwayne Kinnan. He's really come alive running the football inside. That will be something that opponents of Syracuse the rest of the way have to contend with. The fact that they've really given the ball to the fullback, did it successfully, and I think that puts a whole new dimension of pressure on your defense. You've got to remember the fullback is back in their offense.
12:56 to go. Syracuse up 35-20. Trying to take advantage of a Rutgers turnover. This is Owens and Marty Mays. Got him wrapped up near the line of scrimmage. Gain of maybe a yard and a half. Bring up 3rd down and short. Mays has been in a lot of stops today, and Owens has had himself a nice day.
Marty Mays is not the biggest guy to play in there at 5'11", 245, but he reads well, and he plays off the block, and that time he came off the block and took the big back Owens down for a very short game.
It's Ivan Fears, wide receivers coach, motioning in the plays beside Dick McPherson. Third down and 2. And now Bill Shaw doesn't like what he sees in the defensive formation and calls timeout. Early one of Syracuse's 3 here in the second half. With 12:04 left to go in the ball game, he'll march to the sidelines and talk things over with Dick McPherson. So it's Syracuse leading Rutgers by a score of 35-20 and looking at a big third down play on the Rutgers 21-yard line.
When it comes to hauling, a lot of full-size pickup trucks claim to be the best. But is it the truck with the longest, deepest cargo box? Or is it the truck with the biggest maximum payload? The answer is, it's the truck with both. The big Ford pickup. Ford trucks. The toughest competition we have is ourselves.
See your dealer about option package savings on 1990 Ford F-Series trucks.
Most people haven't been too busy today. That cannon is supposed to go off every time Rutgers crosses the end zone, but as you can see, there will be a surplus of powder after this, or at least to this point, unless Rutgers turns around quickly here in this ball game, trailing 35-20. They're on defense. Syracuse at 3rd and 2. Hand off Owens. There's the 2, and there's more. Headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Syracuse.
Interesting call. They came in with 2 tight ends, Gedney and Dees, and they had 1 wide flanker. I backfield, ran a little counter action, and Owens just ran over the right side of Bednarz and Turnell Sims and John Flannery, the center, and he was gone.
21 yards out, his second touchdown of the day for Michael Owens, who is approaching the 100-yard mark. Matter of fact, he crossed it with that play at 111. 22 carries. What great balance for this Syracuse offense this afternoon. As you look at Owens, and here comes John Biscup for the point after. 41-20 the score is now with that touchdown, and the homecoming crowd is starting to make their way to the parking lot. Biscup with a kick splits the uprights, and Syracuse is up 22 points, 42-20 with 11:59 left to go.
Here's the play. Little counter step, hands back, big block by the offensive guard, McCummings, and also the tackle Sims, and he breaks off the right side and gets in that end zone real quick, and he's got the speed today. He looks very good. Another look from the defensive side of things. And there's the trap by the guard. 69 comes through. That's Bernard, the left tackle, pulling around to lead up into the hole, and the speed of Michael Owens is evident as he gets in the end zone and beats everybody.
Well, this is an offensive line that's taken a lot of heat lately because they've allowed their quarterback to get sacked about 16 times in 3 weeks. Today, nothing of the sort, and they're clearing out holes for Dwayne Kinnan and Michael Owens to the order of close to 200 yards rushing this afternoon, and they've got Syracuse out on top here, 42-20. Biscup getting set to kick. A day that has gotten grayer and colder, especially from the standpoint of the home fans. They had expected to see something really special out of their team this afternoon. Rutgers came in, two ties, and they got back on the winning track with 2 wins, came back with 2 losses, felt this was a pivotal crossroads game, but yet Syracuse is a great road team.
A great road team coming into this game. In the last 15 games, Syracuse is 11 victories, 3 losses, and 1 tie on the road. But more importantly, it's evident that Syracuse got it going, and physically, they just look overpowering. And they look really much stronger than Rutgers, and especially from an offensive standpoint against the Rutgers defense. They just couldn't hold up against the run. They found their fullback today, and they've really given him the football. Michael Owens has balanced that off from the tailback position, and Bill Shaw has delivered from the quarterback situation. So they got all 3 people working for him. A lot of credit to that offensive Syracuse.
Well, 3 yards deep will bring it out. She's up the sideline, cuts to the outside. A bit of excitement to the corner, and it's out to the 26-yard line. Around 29 yards, we got an altercation going close to the Rutgers sideline. That stops quickly, and Rutgers comes out here offensively. We look at Owens to the sideline. Took him only 3 plays. The interception by George Rooks set things up, and in a minute and a half, Shaw had them into the end zone again, going to Owens on the ground.
12 interceptions this year for Scott Ernie. 12 interceptions. The first one today took him right out of the first early scoring drive, gave Syracuse the ball. They drove down the field. They didn't come up with a score, but they got good field position. The second one leads to a touchdown. It comes back to haunt you.
Clip is going to be called against Rutgers on the return. So this will make the situation even worse than they'll have to this. Joe Shirk backing everything up. Spot of the infraction, I believe, is going to be the 26, and that'll back it up to the 13-yard line. Somewhere in there.
We had a clip on the return team. It'll be half the distance to the goal, and it'll be first down.
Marks it back to the 12-yard line. Spot of the infraction at about the 24. 11:59 left to go in the ball game. Syracuse up here 42-20.
Into the ball game, they have Randy Jackson. Actually, they're taking Jackson out of the game and bringing Scott Blanche in. And with the emerge, as Scott Ernie trotted on the field that time, you heard some boos from the crowd.
What they forget. They have not put the point after by John Biscup up on the scoreboard in the far end zone. That might have Dick McPherson mildly upset before it's all through. That's probably the only thing that he'll be upset about here today. And that scoreboard, we understand, is broken.
The referee has come over to talk to the timekeeper here.
There you see, they wiped it out. Now they're coming back with a language that's not known to us as far as scoreboard is concerned. Is that Fortran or whatever language I didn't learn as far as computers were concerned? And that doesn't tell you much. We can tell you that it is Syracuse 42-20.
The time on the field is 11:54, and the score is 42.
The score is 42. That's the Syracuse score is 42.
Rutgers still stuck at 20.
I'll tell you, we've given Mr. Shirk a lot of time on camera the last 2 weeks. He's really done it.
Called 7 penalties in the first quarter of our game last week between Navy and
Check out if he belongs to after, will you please?
19 penalties all told in that game, and things are starting to mount up. His job increases as the scoreboard goes nuts in the end of the far end zone.
Now he's got to go over and inform Dick McPherson what's going on.
As Dick Anderson looks at it. There it is. You derive what's happening.
That's the first question you're asked in order to get into Rutgers University. That's the first test. You have to figure that one out.
But it should say Syracuse 42, Rutgers 20. As Dick McPherson questions Joe Shirk as to who will keep the time.
Let's go, he said. Come on.
Let's go and play. Our sentiments exactly. Scott Ernie gets ready to come out over the football. The clipping penalty has marched Rutgers back to the 12-yard line. They are 88 yards away from the end zone, and they are 22 points down on the scoreboard. Joe Shirk makes sure everybody knows what's happening. Time will be kept on the field for the remainder, unless an electrician can do some fast work. Now they stop play again. This time, Joe Shirk will continue to consult and get the watches coordinated. Now they're back to action, we think. Long conversation to try to get things back and going here. West Virginia having a big day. The week off certainly did the Mountaineers a world of good. 48-3 over Cincinnati. Major Harris back in gear, threw 2 TDs, ran for another. Princeton playing their 1,000th game today. Here's Scott Ernie. A yard out of his own end zone, going deep to pivot for Can. Can had a step or two on Wooden, the outside linebacker responsible for coverage down the sideline, but Ernie struck it out maybe a little bit too far.
It's up for Scott Ernie. He's thrown into the sun right here now, and that sun is strong, looking right down on him. They tried to get Can up the sideline, hitting him one-on-one against Wooden, the outside linebacker. He had a step on him. The safety never got over that time, Bob Thompson. If the ball was there, it was going to be a big play. Overthrown, second down.
A little over a minute, 11 minutes left to go in the ball game. 42-20, Syracuse on top. Ernie, back to throw again. Looking short this time. It is complete to Roberts. Roberts makes his way out over the 22-yard line. He's close to a first down. Whiteman making the stop. Avaro on the play as well for Syracuse. Syracuse pass defense has done an outstanding job. There you see Dan Busey.
They sure have, and you don't call those linebackers as much, do you? But they're in the game, and they're playing it from inside out. Busey and Bavaro, mainly because they haven't been running the football. And that was their design coming into the game. They didn't want to contend with those inside linebackers, but they just haven't been able to do it, pulling the gun here with the pass.
Ernie out complete to Tyrone McQueen. Nice catch. He's driven out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. Rutgers.
That was a great catch by McQueen. The ball was low on the ground. He picked it up and then pivoted and made yardage out of it. Here we see it. Here's the play. McQueen, number 5, comes back. Watch him take this right off the grass. Cuddled it, scooped it, got yardage, got another first down.
About 19 yards on the catch. He's up first and 10 out of the 41-yard line. Scoreboard clock is out. I think there's somewhere in the order of 10 minutes left to go in the football game. Of course, there'll be plenty of stoppages here as Rutgers tries to pass the ball up the field. Joe Shirk now was talking about the 25-second clock. So the 25.
We interrupt our regular program schedule to bring you a special report from ABC News. Here is Forrest Sawyer.
Good afternoon. We are continuing to follow what can only be called a miraculous story in San Francisco. Now, 4 days after that terrible earthquake struck San Francisco and the Santa Cruz area, we have found a man who was trapped under the rubble of Interstate 880. You remember that's that long stretch of roadway that collapsed, pancaked down onto the road. It was thought there could be no survivors at this point, but beginning at 6 a.m. this morning, Pacific time, a California transportation worker went down into what was a cavern and found the worker. Here they are, the tape of it, as they have pulled this man out after they worked for 5 long hours. After that worker saw some movement from the man, they pushed dirt up under the roadbed to keep it shored up, began to drill holes into the concrete. Very dangerous work, but at last he came out. He is Buck Helms, 57 years old, waved his arms to the crowd as he came out. He was semi-conscious, and one rescue worker says that when he came out, he told everyone, "Thank God I am alive." He has been taken to Highland Hospital in Oakland, California. He is said to be now in stable condition. His wife in Weaverville, California, where they live, is going to be moving toward him very shortly, moving toward the airport, trying to see her husband, who she must have thought may have been dead. But Buck Helms, 57 years old, has been found alive. We're continuing to follow the story here at ABC News. We'll have more details as they become available. But for now, in Washington, D.C., I'm Forrest Sawyer. Good afternoon.
This special report has come to you from ABC News. We now resume our regular program schedule.
It was a big day when the new equipment arrived.
It's big. Biggest one I've ever seen.
Of course, being a custom job, some assembly was required.
It'll be a few weeks, people.
But finally, it was ready. One of the world's fastest check-writing systems. Some insurance companies look for ways to get your money from you faster.
I hear she'll do $12,000 an hour.
At Aetna, we look for ways to get your money to you faster.
Without a huddle, they got to move quickly here if they want to get on the scoreboard, stay even possibly close.
Time with about 8.5 minutes to go in the football game. Syracuse leading Rutgers. Rutgers with the ball, 42-20 to score. In the fourth quarter here at Rutgers. Ernie looking to the flats, complete to McQueen at the 22. McQueen surges ahead again. Walker makes the play at the 20. Going to be a gain on the play of about close to 10.
What's happened here is Syracuse playing zone, laying off the receivers. Now as the ball gets close to the end zone, the coverage will get tighter, and this is where Scott Ernie's got to be very careful with the interception. He's got to get the ball quickly to his receivers.
Syracuse has been giving up yardage begrudgingly inside the 20 this afternoon. Ernie over the middle, complete to Can. Can at the 10. Breaks the tackle into the end zone for a touchdown.
What a great individual effort by Jimmy Can.
Can from about 20 yards out. Scores the touchdown at what we think is the 8-minute mark and now pulls Rutgers to within 16. It's 42-26 pending the point after. We do not see Giesler on the field yet.
Well, they got to go for 2 because they missed the extra point back a while ago. That was a great effort by Jim Can, and also good effort by Scott Ernie hanging in there and finding him open. Second effort got Can into the end zone. Here we go for 2.
2-point conversion try. No backs in back of Ernie, suggesting throw. Ernie scrambling, looking to reverse field. Now puts it up into the end zone. Melton is there. Can is there to make the catch. Jimmy Can on the deflected pass makes the 2-point conversion catch, and that makes it 42-28.
That's what it's all about, huh? It was well covered. Pressure on Scott Ernie as he comes out here. No backs in the backfield. 4 receivers to the right side. He doesn't see anybody. He's being pressured, flushed out of there by LeBaron again. And he looks to the backside. Nothing there. So he just decides to throw it up for grabs. And watch this. Bang, bang, bang. And there's Jim Can. 32 catches the ball. Rutgers picks up 2-pointer, and they trail 42-28.
Looked like he picked it right up off the shoulder pad of Gary Melton. Rutgers now pulls to within 14.
If you stripped Ford Taurus of all its awards, erased all the glowing reviews, removed all evidence of its presence on the road, and introduced it today, Ford Taurus would still be ahead of its time.
See your dealer now for low financing or special savings on 1990 Ford Taurus.
There is James Can, who just pulled down a touchdown pass in the 2-point conversion. What a catch off the shoulder pad of teammate Gary Melton. In the end zone, Scott Ernie just threw it up for grabs, and that smiling individual pulled it down. And now with 8:37 remaining in the football game, Rutgers says, wait a minute, don't go to the parking lots. It's a 14-point game.
And you got to remember it's the fourth period, and Rutgers in the fourth period, they're a tough team. They score a lot. Now they've got a great chore ahead of them. The biggest thing here is they've got to try and get the ball back without giving Syracuse a chance to take time off the clock or get any more points.
Syracuse anticipating onside kick now with Giesler.
I think it's a little too early for an onside kick. Maybe squib it down the middle.
Give it to Walker back at the 14. Walker up the middle, and he's brought down at the 30-yard line. A 16-yard return. And now Syracuse takes the field offensively once more. Up 42-28.
We'll see if they try to keep it on the ground a little bit, take some time off that clock. In command, they've got the wind at their back. They just got to make some first downs here. Not give Rutgers a chance to get the ball back at any time.
Now the time is going to be an estimate on most parts because with the touchdown at 8:37. Rutgers, 335 yards total offense, but look at Syracuse, 473. Here comes a handoff. It goes to Owens. Stutter steps into the line and then gets upfield to about the 33-yard line. Rob Spidell making the tackle. Boy, we've called his name a lot this afternoon.
Spidell, Budovich, they've been in a lot of plays because Syracuse has been moving the ball on the ground.
Second down and 8. Second down and actually about 7. Syracuse at the 33-yard line. Shaw, draw play. Owen wrapped up and wrestled to the ground by Scott Miller.
Good job by Miller that time. They tried to run a little delay play with the tailback Owens. Miller came down close to the right defensive tackle position to make the hit along with Marty Mays, number 65. Big third down play. Third down, long yardage. Syracuse very effective on third down plays today.
Syracuse has been 9 for 12 on third down plays this afternoon. Third down and 7 coming up now. Gedney in motion. A little over 6.5 minutes left to go in the game. Shaw looking upfield, finds a man complete. That is Gedney, his tight end. Got the first down, and Syracuse converts third to first once again.
Good job. Offensive line, good protection, and they really did a nice job of protecting, giving him a chance. Gedney, the big tight end. Chris Gedney, red-shirted freshman. Here he comes. Watch number 84. He'll curl up in the middle, right in the middle, in between the linebackers. First down. Big target. 6'5", 233.
Syracuse 42-28 over Rutgers. Scoreboard clock is out. Estimated time left a little over 6 minutes. Shaw on the option. Pitches to Owens. Fumbled the ball momentarily before he could cross and get upfield. Bob Spidell is in to make the tackle.
Get that ball in bounds. They don't want to get out of bounds and stop the clock. Big play by Spidell, making the hit. But again, Syracuse controlling the football, coming up with the third down conversions. Dick Anderson knows he wants that football back so badly.
His team down by 14. 2 yards, Syracuse 2 yards shy of midfield. Homecoming crowd may have headed to the exits a little bit early. Now they say about 7 minutes left. Shaw. Here's the reverse to Carpenter. Carpenter cutting upfield, catches a block at the 45 and gets driven out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Driven out of bounds on the play.
John Blanton, the quarterback, number 23, came up to make the play, but that's a play they have in their arsenal with the speed they have in the flanks with Moore and Carpenter. They wait for the right time to call it. That time they come off the option, pitch it back at 7. Rob Carpenter, who's had a great day today, made the first down.
12-yard run by Carpenter. Gets the first down at the Rutgers 40-yard line. Shaw has Carpenter and Gedney split wide to the top side. To the bottom, that's Moore. And off Owens. Owens sandwiched at the line of scrimmage. Driven back there. Looks like Marty Mays is the first man in.
Marty Mays has had a great day today. Playing off the center, playing in the nose position. He's done a great job of hanging in there. He's not big, but he's quick and he reads well. And Boston College making a charge with 6 minutes to go, trailing 27-24.
3 minutes left to go in Boston. There's 6 minutes left to go here at Rutgers. It's a trot in the country for West Virginia, 62-3 over Cincinnati in the fourth quarter at Morgantown. Shaw on second and 8. Draw play to Owens. Owens dances outside, has the first down and more. Brought down by Bouchard and Mays at the 26-yard line. It's a gain of 15 for Michael Owens, who's up over 130 yards rushing.
And they say, we mentioned it earlier, he makes people miss. And watch this as he takes this beautiful execution of the draw, good blocking up front. On the line, they steer blockers. Here he is. Look at this little move right there. People fall by the wayside. He falls forward for another first down, and Syracuse is doing what they have to do at this point in the game, controlling the football. Michael Owens, big day.
2 touchdowns for him, 2 touchdowns for Rob Carpenter, 4 touchdown passes for Bill Shaw this afternoon. Syracuse leading 42-28 on first down. Here comes the fullback, Dwayne Kinnan. Kinnan set down by Spidell, also Bouchard in on the play for Rutgers. We'll talk about his success this afternoon. Kinnan up over 80 yards.
Okay, trying to keep it going.
Second down and 7. Shar, a little over 5 minutes left to go in the ball game. Gives it to Owens. Owens surges ahead to the 20. We're giving estimated time because the scoreboard clock is out as Owens heads back. Looks like Mays in on the tackle.
I think we've got to talk some more about Bill Shaw. We mentioned how he came into this ball game. A lot of criticism about his play. Had a tough time. Got hurt a little bit last week against Penn State. But he came in here today, and he has done the job. He's executed. He's thrown the ball well. Run the offense, lots of confidence, and I think it proves that you just don't give up on somebody like that. They had confidence enough to bring him back today. I think he's going to be a big boost for him for the rest of the season.
3rd and 4, Syracuse at the Rutgers 20. Shaw, quarterback draw, has the first down, has a touchdown. Bill Shaw, involved in 5 touchdowns on the afternoon. Takes it in from 20 yards out.
Retribution.
What a day for that young man. He had his first 6 passes on the afternoon. He said, don't step on the mouthpiece, guys.
Happy young guy.
48-20.
You called it. This is a quarterback draw. 1-2. He stops, lets the blocking take place up front. Flannery makes the block for him up front. He just steers around the linebackers and finds that end zone. Bill Shaw, junior out of Canandaigua, New York.
48-28 the score is now as Biscuit gets set to kick to make it 49 out of the hold of Mark McDonald. Here comes the kick. It splits the uprights beautifully. With a little over 4 minutes left to go in the football game, it's Syracuse leading by 21. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Aren't you astronauts?
Buzz Aldrin, Gordon Cooper, Scott Carpenter. We'd like to compare notes with Stevie on the new space station.
Hello?
Hi, tell me let's do it for Stevie.
Hey, what's up? Just a question about moving Randolph to the number 2 position. Yeah, second, and this will work. It's perfect.
Hi. Hey, we're the Pointer Sisters. Stevie's expecting us.
Well, come in.
We need help with our new album.
Bert back there? Literature?
The Amiga. Color, sound, graphics, power. At a price to make it truly the computer for the creative mind. What can the Amiga do? Well, what do you want it to do?
Mr. O'Neill. Stevie is upstairs, but it's kind of crowded. Would you like some fried chicken while you're waiting?
Amiga from Commodore. The computer for the creative mind.
And a lot of people probably aren't very hostile with homecoming, including that man, Dick McPherson's pretty happy at the way things have turned out. There's 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in this football game, we've been officially told, as the scoreboard clock is out. Dick Anderson not too pleased with the turn of events. His team came in here needing a victory to break a 2-2-2 deadlock of wins, ties, and losses. Now looks at his final 4 games of the season, looking at 2-3-2. Falling behind in the Lambert Trophy situation, and looking at a year in which really Rutgers was building forward to. Here's Biscuit with the kick. Melton is back to receive, has it in his own 2. Heads up the sideline, gets a nice return. He's had a couple this afternoon, 34